Who's there? Russ? That you, Russ?
No, it's me, Floyd Wilbur. They're coming, Floyd. I seen them from the ridge.
How many?
15, maybe more. It's getting dark. 15 anyway.
That ought to be enough.
Oh, that leg, Floyd, that's awful bad. You ought to do something about it.
Why'd you come back here, Wilbur? How come you didn't run off with the rest of them yellow-livered skunks?
Oh, I started to, Floyd. I sure did, but then I got to thinking I couldn't leave you here all alone, not the way you are, and that posse coming.
You knew it'd be a fight, and you came back?
I'm here, ain't I?
You know what you're in for?
Oh, I seen you get out of worse. It's like as not you'd have done all right alone.
Yeah? I got 4 rounds in this one and none in the other. That made the odds a little rough. Here, load them for me.
Huh?
My guns, load them!
For Floyd,
You got bullets, ain't you?
Yes, but I never thought I'd live to see the day that Floyd Winters had trusted his guns to another man.
You earned it. You didn't run off with the rest.
If your brother Russ had been here, there wouldn't have been nobody running off.
Yeah, but Russ ain't here. Go ahead, Wilbur. Load him up for me. Funny thing, ain't it? Live with a man 5 years. Don't even know him. Here I figured you'd be the first to yell out and...
I'd spotted a campfire maybe 15 minutes back, just before the trail swung down from Yellow Mesa into the canyon. I'd run into Sheriff Preston and his posse a while back. He told me about finally catching up with Floyd Winters, dead. That didn't hold for Floyd's brother Russ, who was just as mean and still alive. Maybe that campfire had just been my imagination. I'd had a tough 3 months' work pushing cattle over Shepherd Pass. Now I was headed for Single Pine. Figured on spending a couple of days unwinding.
Get your hands up, Russ. Hi. Hi, I said. I ain't bluffing. You ought to know that.
Something you ought to know.
No, don't turn around. Just stand like you are here. Oh, you ain't Russ.
I could have told you that.
I thought, well, the way you were standing there.
You thought wrong.
I'm sorry about that. Who are you anyway, and what are you doing on this trail this time of night?
My name's Bonner.
Bonner? Vint Bonner?
Yeah, and suppose you put that gun away.
Yes, sir. I even heard Floyd Winters talk about you.
You knew Floyd Winters? That's nothing. It's just my horse.
Well, I thought for a moment that...
I've been on the trail all day. There's not a soul within 20 miles.
You ain't lying to me. I didn't mean that. Don't pay no attention to me. I'm just kind of upset.
I figure you got a right to be.
What do you mean by that?
You're Wilbur English, aren't you?
Well, how'd you know?
Not too hard to figure. The way you had me pegged as Winters.
Then you know.
Yeah. I ran into Sheriff Preston a while back. The whole posse's talking about it.
Talking about it? You mean it?
About the way you shot Floyd Winters.
How about that? 2 days ago, nobody ever heard of me. And now they're... What they saying?
Well, you'll find out soon enough.
That was something, wasn't it? I mean, me knocking over Floyd the way I did.
That was something.
3 years they've been after him. 3 years they've been trying to get him, and I done it. The top gun like you ought to appreciate a thing like that.
I'm not a gun.
Well, I didn't mean that. I mean, you got a reputation for taking care of yourself. Well, I guess I got one now, too, huh?
Yeah. You've got quite a reputation.
I bet they're all talking about it back at Single Pine.
Single Pine?
That's where I'm supposed to meet up with Sheriff Preston. He told me to go on ahead while the rest of the posse kept after Russ a while longer.
What are his plans?
Well, he's going into Cheyenne tomorrow, deliver a prisoner, and he promised to take me with him. That's where I'm going to get my pardon in Cheyenne and the reward money. Of course, the reward money don't mean nothing.
Well, Preston's a good man. He'll take care of you.
I got to get to Single Pine first. I got to get that far on my own.
It's only a short ride.
Well, I thought, well, you were heading to Single Pine. Well, maybe we could ride in together.
You'll do all right.
Bonner. Mr. Bonner. He's after me, Floyd's brother Russ. He swore he'd kill me. Bonner, I'm begging you. How could it be too much to ask? I'll make it up to you. I'll give you half the reward.
I'll take you in.
You will? Honest?
Just shut up. One thing I can't stand. I'll put my bedroll over here.
I thought, well, maybe we might go on tonight.
Tonight? I've been pushing it since dawn.
I know, but out here, I don't think I'd sleep.
Get your horse.
You won't regret this, Mr. Bonner. I swear it.
Yeah.
I'll get my horse.
English. Just one thing.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bonner.
While we're on the trail, let's say you just ride in front of me. Well, we rode on through the night. Wilbur didn't let up a minute. Just kept twisting and turning in his saddle, looking over his shoulder like any minute somebody was going to send a bullet slamming into his neck. Here we are. What's the matter?
Well, that fellow over there.
Where?
For the hardware store. I can't see him real clear, but it looks like Russ.
Looks a whole lot more like Ben Fletcher. That's his hardware store he's leaning up against. Come on inside.
Hello, Pop. That's a fine way for the sheriff to be tending his job. Supposing that had been Russ out there.
Well, it wasn't. Besides, that's not the sheriff. That's Phil Waterman, his deputy. Hey, Phil.
Huh?
Wake up.
Oh, Ben Bonner. I heard about you working cattle over on the Shepherd Trail.
Yeah, 3 months of it.
Figured on doing a little unwinding.
That was the idea.
You sure picked a quiet place for it.
I see what you mean.
What? Oh, the nap. I didn't get a wink of sleep last night.
Say, where's Mike?
Well, I lit out for Red Rock about an hour ago. Some noise about Russ Winters being spotted. Yesterday was 3 other places.
Russ? You mean they ain't found Russ yet?
You talk about being foxy. That Russ Winters had slipped through a crack and choke a lizard.
What about the sheriff's trip to Cheyenne?
He put it off. Hey! Get out of here! Fool mutt thinks this is a butcher shop.
Put it off? You mean his trip?
That's what he said. Leave tomorrow, maybe next day.
What am I supposed to do? Just sit around and wait?
Who's your friend, Vint?
Thought you knew. This is Wilbur English.
Ah. Well, so that's Wilbur English.
Listen, Phil.
Name's Mr. Waterman.
Well, you got to understand. The sheriff promised he'd see that I got to Cheyenne.
Which he will when he goes himself.
What's he doing about it? He's out gallivanting around.
Now, you looky here. Mike Preston said he'd take you to Cheyenne. He'll take you there. He ain't never gone back on his word yet, not even to no murder and... I forgot. You ain't no outlaw no more. You a public-spirited citizen. All right. You get yourself into that hotel across the street and you stay there. When the sheriff comes back, I'll tell him where you are.
Ain't there no place for me here? I mean, back there?
Cells are full. The hotel, Mr. English, across the street. Now, how'd you ever get mixed up in anything like that?
Kind of accidental. I bumped into him on the trail last night.
Floyd Winters needed killing. There's no arguing that. I guess we all owe English something.
Yeah, I suppose so. Say, the drought let up around here yet?
Why, sure, we got 2 new saloons since you was here.
I didn't mean that. I want to get a bath.
Oh, that. Well, you can go down to Daggett's 2 blocks down the street if you think you have to.
I have to. See you later. Hold it right where you are. Take your hands out of my bag and keep hold of whatever you've got. Wilbur, you picked the dangest time to get hungry.
It ain't for me, Mr. Bonner. It's for him.
Him?
Poor little fella. For he eats like he ain't been fed in days.
I thought Phil told you to go to the hotel.
Oh, yes, sir, he did.
Well?
Well, I mean, didn't he act sort of funny? I mean, the way he talked to me and...
That's Phil.
Oh, he talked like I was a nobody.
Now, go on to the hotel like he told you. Mike will be back tomorrow, and that'll be that.
Yes, sir, I was just fixing to.
All right.
Where you going?
I've got some business to attend to.
Ain't you going to stay in that hotel over there?
Wilbur, you're not afraid to cross the street, are you?
No, sir. No, it's just that I figured, well, since you were staying in town anyway,
Come on. Couple rooms.
Your name? $50 apiece.
$50?
In advance.
look, I was thinking, well, the price of the rooms, well, maybe if we was to share one.
No.
That'll be room 16 and 17. Wilbur English.
Hey, Charlie. It's Wilbur English.
Oh, you boys heard of me?
Well, sure we heard of you. You're a legend. Ain't he a legend, Charlie?
Well, a regular Daniel Boone here, Tell.
Yeah.
A real big gun.
How about that?
You know this fella Dunn, Charlie?
Well, sure. Here was this mean old Floyd Winters, see? And he's got 2 guns right smack into this fella's belly. And do you think Wilbur English was scared? He was not.
Wilbur English ain't scared of nothing. He just looked at old Floyd Winters right in the eye and he went smack. Knocked those guns right out of his hand.
You fellas better not mess with me. You just find trouble.
Sure.
That's Vin Bonner.
Sure.
You hear what he said? That's Vin Bonner.
Oh, yes, it is, and I'm Davy Crockett. All right. I reckon I ain't got any argument with you.
Come on, Wilbur.
Give me a piece of paper.
Make it a yellow one.
I finally got Wilbur settled down, and don't think that didn't take some doing. Anyway, I was feeling kind of beat myself. That bath I needed, I could get that later. And I guess I must have been asleep about an hour when... Who is it?
Me, Wilbur.
Oh.
Listen, I got to speak to you.
All right, Wilbur, I'm coming.
He's here, Mr. Bonner, in Single Pine.
Who's here?
Russ Winters, he's right here in town.
Wilbur, you've imagined you've seen him a couple of times before, remember?
You call this imagining things?
What is it?
Go on, read it.
You don't have much longer to wait, you yellow coward, Russ.
Well,
Where'd you get this?
he slid it under my door.
Did you see him?
I didn't have to.
Look, if Russ Winters were in town, he wouldn't waste any time sending you notes. He'd be calling on you personal.
No, you see, that's just what he would do. He'd like nothing better than to just sit there and
Wilbur,
talk to
if you don't let me get some... You've got me doing it. Jumping at sounds. I give you my word that note doesn't mean anything. It's probably those boys in the lobby.
Why? Well, I thought everybody would be grateful for what I'd done. They've been after Floyd for years, and here I go and do it for him.
That's true.
And now they act as if it were wrong, as if he was some kind of hero or something.
Floyd Winters was no hero, I'll grant you that.
Then why are they all against me?
They're not against you. It's just the way you shot him. And you were a member of the gang.
Well, I ain't never denied that. But I wasn't mean like Russ or Floyd. They just sort of had me hanging around. I guess I did do my share of harm, but I never killed nobody. All the time I was with that gang, I never killed nobody.
You killed Floyd.
That was different. He was an outlaw, wasn't he? He had it coming. Everybody said he did. Oh, listen, if I hadn't have shot him, there'd have been more killing. And the posse was coming, and, well, I was sort of saving their lives.
And getting yourself a pardon and a reward.
I wasn't thinking about that.
You weren't, huh?
What good to do me anyway? Russ is out hunting me, and everybody's acting like they'd like to see him get me. Like I was some sort of dirty coward or something. And you think I'm a coward too, don't you?
I didn't say that.
But you're thinking it. I can tell you, you're just like all the rest of them, all of them. Well, I ain't a coward at all.
Sit down, Wilbur.
I'm going out there, see? I'm going out there in the street, and I'm going to call out, Russ, you out there? Will you come on out here, see?
Wilbur, sit down.
You can't stop me. Nobody can. Calling me a coward.
All right. You're not a coward.
You're just saying that.
No, I mean it.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. I mean it. You're not a coward. Sit down, Wilbur.
Okay, except that... Well, I didn't want you to think that...
All right.
Mr. Bonner.
What?
There's a train this afternoon leaving for Cheyenne at 4:30.
What about it?
I'd like to be on it.
You're supposed to sit tight.
I know, but it's only a question of time.
Look, if I were in your place...
I know, but you're not in my place.
That's true, I'm not. Oh, what'll you do? I mean, after you get to Cheyenne?
I don't know.
Got some folks? Place, maybe? Everybody's got a place.
No, I never had.
$4:30, huh? I'll see that you're on it. The way they tell it, the train was 20 miles up the line, just pulling out of Red Rock and gaining speed. Not many people had gotten on. Wilbur was sitting by the window looking out at the scenery. In a way, I was kind of sorry to see him go. Not that I'd gotten to like him or anything. Anyway, I reasoned that'd be the last I'd ever see of him. I was right. Because there he met Russ.
Russ, listen, you gotta listen to me. It was either me or Floyd. The posse was coming and I was scared.
Look, I hate knocking the dead as much as anybody. What am I supposed to do, bleed for him?
Guess you're right.
I just can't figure you, Vet. I mean, a dirty little coward like that.
Just that he wanted so little. Just to be... wanted.
That's my point, what I'm trying to say. What's the loss? Who'd want him?
Who would at that? $500. Match.
This'll cover it. And I'll redeem it at the bank, if you will.
Just made yourself a call, Mr. Jason. Beat it.
That ain't possible.
If you're looking for sympathy, you'll find it in the dictionary.
Not this hand, Marlowe.
What's this?
We say you cheated.
I never cheated at a card game in my life.
Mr. Jason's a respectable businessman in town. When a stranger calls him a liar, he'd better back it up.
I'm no liar, but I'm no gunman either. I don't even carry one of those things.
And get out! Fast!
My diamond. That crook stole my diamond.
Afternoon. Afternoon.
You look like a man with an appetite.
Well, I ate yesterday morning, I remember.
You're welcome to some beans.
Thank you.
Here you are.
Thank you.
Rough country to be traveling on foot.
I ran into a poor sport back in Jackson Bend. He didn't care about me cleaning him in a poker game, so he had his gun in and run me out of town.
Oh, that would be Cal Jason, that man of his, Goss.
Yeah.
You didn't have a chance from the start. Even if you cheated.
Good gambler doesn't have to cheat.
I figured you for a gambler.
One day it's chicken, the next day feathers. But if I had to go broke, at least it's within walking distance of Clover Fork. You wouldn't by any chance be acquainted in Clover Fork, would you, mister?
Some?
Maybe you could tell me where I could find my family. Clover Fork's where they moved to last time I heard. Name's Marlowe.
Marlowe? I know Ted.
I'll bet he's a real whopper by now. Well, he must be, let me see, 1 on 10. And Janet, that's my wife. I bet she's as pretty as she used to be.
Oh. The fact of the matter is, Mr. Marlowe, Mrs. Marlowe's dead. Pneumonia.
Janet's dead?
I don't relish being the one to tell you. Somebody should have notified you.
I suppose I tried. I haven't been an easy man to reach. I didn't give Janet much of a life. I tried to settle down. Some men just aren't meant to stay put. Maybe you wouldn't savvy that.
I savvy.
Who's taking care of the boy now?
Amy.
Janet's sister?
That's right.
How's she managing?
Your wife built up quite a little dressmaking trade. Amy took over. The boy helps out. Odd jobs after school. He's a nice boy. You'll be proud of him.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Well, I'm sorry I can't take you with me. But I don't think my horse could carry us both.
Oh, that's all right. Thanks for the food. I'm sorry, I didn't even ask your name.
Name's Bonner. Vint Bonner.
Bonner? Yeah, I've heard about you. I'm pleased to meet you, Mr. Bonner.
Oh. Good luck.
Well, since you'll be in Clover Fork ahead of me, I wonder if you'd stop by and tell Amy and the boys I'll be by to see them.
I'll do that.
Howdy.
You're a long way from Jackson Bend, aren't you, Goss?
Looking for a fella named Marlowe.
Milo, huh?
Yeah, fancy dressed, a thieving gambler. You seen anyone like that?
Yeah, I have.
Where?
That running mate of yours in Jackson Bend, Cal Jason. Put that thing away. We're both too old to be playing games on a pretty day like today. And you move along. Nobody but a fool would be in this country on foot.
Vint, it just isn't fair for him to come here after 8 years.
He is the boy's father.
He was Janet's husband, too. But that didn't make any difference to him.
He still has a right to see Ted.
What'll it do to the boy? He thinks his father's dead.
I know.
When Janet was so sick, Ted wondered why his pa wasn't here to help her. What else could I tell him?
I don't know.
Mrs. Peters will be here most any minute for a dress fitting.
Mr. Bonner!
Ha ha! Whoa there, boy.
I seen your horse Scar outside.
Saw, Ted.
I knew you were here after I'd seen it. And here's the black thread you asked me to bring on the way from school. Oh, Mr. Bonner, I can do that gun trick you showed me real good now.
Good.
That should be Mrs. Peters.
Hello, Amy.
Rafe.
Aren't you going to ask me in? Or weren't you expecting me?
He was expecting you, all right, but not so soon.
Come in.
Sodbuster gave me a ride on his wagon. Oh, this is Ted. I'd know him anywhere. Come here, boy. Let me take a look at you. Yeah. Same eyes. Same color hair. I bet you don't know who I am, do you, Ted?
Ted, I want you to meet a friend of mine, Mr. George Parker. He knew your father.
Glad to know you, Mr. Parker.
Well, now, just a minute, Bonner.
Ted. Ted, it's time to go bring in the kindling.
I'll be right back.
Thank you, Vint.
What kind of joke you pulling, Bonner?
It's no joke, and it's better this way. You be Mr. Parker. To him, you're dead.
So that's it. Well, I'm coming back to life. Nobody's going to keep me away from my own son. Just how do you fit into this, mister?
Because I asked him to, that's how. Go away, Rafe. Leave us alone.
Amy, I know how you must feel, but...
You don't know how I feel. You couldn't. It wasn't pneumonia that killed Janet. It was you. She was in love with you, Rafe Marlowe. when you left that last time and didn't come back. That's what really killed her.
I couldn't help myself. It wasn't that I didn't love Janet.
Well, don't make Ted go through the same thing she did. Always wondering where you are, worrying about you. Please. Let him go on believing you're dead.
I think we better get one thing straight. Ted's my son, and he's got a right to know it. And I'm going to tell him.
That was quick, wasn't it, Aunt Amy? Tell me more about my father, sir.
Go on. Tell him about his father.
Were you with him when he fought those Indians?
Indians?
That's how he got killed, saving some settlers from the Apaches in Arizona. Aunt Amy says my father was just about the bravest man she ever seen, or saw. I'll bet you can tell me some other things he did, Mr. Barker.
Your dad was quite a man, Ted. There'll never be another one like him. But, by the way, you got my name wrong. It's not Barker. It's Parker.
I got myself a room at the hotel and settled down in the lobby with the paper. But my mind wasn't on it. The way everything was working out was so peaceful that it just seemed a little bit too peaceful.
Thanks, Bonner.
What for?
Oh, for making me think twice.
So you decided to go on playing dead, huh?
Sure. But I wrote myself a mighty heroic obituary.
What made you change your mind?
Oh, I don't know. Amy talked sense, and, well, I did sort of promise to stay over another day, though.
How come?
Tomorrow's Saturday, and the boy said he'd like to go hunting. I guess I owe him that much.
Seems reasonable.
Only if I stay over, I'm going to need me a little stake. Now, I'm not asking for a loan. Not without security, anyway. I'll need about $25.
This thing real?
Well, if it isn't, I don't think that gunslinger of Jason's would have bothered to try to find me yesterday.
He's over here today. Guess he wants this back.
I want it fair, but that's another reason I've got to be on my way. Oh, about the money, I'll have it back tomorrow.
How?
I checked a poker game in there. They know as much about cards as a blind Indian. Ted sure has his heart set on going hunting.
Well, like I said, it seems reasonable. And you keep this.
No. Business is business. I'd rather you keep it anyway in case I get reckless. But I have a feeling this is my lucky night.
So you're the flannel mouth who called me a thieving gambler.
Must have been pretty deep for you to come all this way and tell me about it.
Where's your friend Marlowe? He's got a $2,000 diamond of mine, and I intend to get it back.
Must be the fellow you were talking about.
I run into a kid who saw you sharing chuck with him.
Well, it's a good thing you can stop for dinner.
I only had beans enough for two.
Where'd Marlowe go?
I couldn't tell you that.
You mean you won't? Maybe the night air will revive your memory.
Outside.
Where is he?
Told you all I'm going to.
Keep your hands down.
Spill it, cowboy. Where's Marlowe?
You find out.
Where's Marlowe? Where's Marlowe? Where is he? Stop!
Let him go or you'll shoot. Go ahead, shoot. Now you do as I say or I'll break this man's neck. First, drop that gun.
Stop him! Stop him!
Now go get your horses. And don't stop till you get to Jackson Bend. I'll be looking for you, cowboy. I'll be around. The money Marlowe had borrowed was waiting for me next morning, and I gathered he'd made a killing in the poker game. But Sunday things were still bothering me about Ted and his dad. I wondered if he'd left town as he promised.
Mr. Banner! Mr. Banner!
Whoa, boy. Don't you ever walk anyplace?
I saw you right in, but I guess you didn't see me. I've been wanting to find you.
What can I do for you?
About Mr. Parker.
Don't tell me he's still in town.
Yes, but I think he's going to leave in a few days.
A few days?
He told me he never stays in one place very long.
Guess that's right.
Well, when he goes, I'm going with him.
What?
I ain't ever had so much fun in my whole life. Yesterday we went hunting. This morning I played hooky from Sunday school to go fishing with him. Only don't you tell Aunt Amy.
Now, wait a minute, Ted. I think we better talk this over a little more.
I'm sure Mr. Parker likes me, don't you think? And he says he doesn't have any family of his own. I bet he gets lonesome and would like having somebody with him.
Well, when you're traveling, that's different.
He's just got to take me along, or I'll run away and find him.
Hold it. Have you talked to Aunt Amy about this?
I want to be like Mr. Parker and go places and learn to be a gambler and play poker.
Now, learning to play poker ain't hard. It's learning to win that's the tough thing.
Oh, Mr. Parker never loses. I watched through the window of the hotel last night, and there ain't nobody that can beat him.
That's so.
He's just about the nicest man I ever met. He's a friend of my pa's, too.
Does Mr. Parker know about this?
No, I'm scared to tell him. I'm scared he'll turn me down. Will you ask him for me, Mr. Bonner?
Don't you think you better talk to your Aunt Amy first?
I know what she would say, and it wouldn't make any difference. I've already decided.
All right, I'll tell Mr. Parker what you've decided. Meantime, you run along home. Tell your aunt I'll be over later.
Okay.
I could settle down, get a job, make us a home. Then later on, I could let him know I'm his old man.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah. Oh, what's the use of trying to fool myself? I couldn't do it for his mother. I couldn't do it for Ted either. I'd be rolling on inside of 6 weeks.
He said he's going to follow you no matter what.
He'll go back to Amy soon enough.
You didn't.
Well, he's not me.
He's a lot like you. He thinks you're the greatest fellow that ever lived. Outside his pop, that is. You're his idol.
All right, I'll get out of town tonight.
Kid's got the longest memories. Even after you'd gone, he'd still want to be like you.
Well, he can't. I want my son to do better than a gambling tramp like me.
Nobody's got any use for broken glass. Same thing is true of broken idols.
If you're looking for sympathy, Finch, you'll find it in the dictionary.
I don't understand it. How you've won all night long.
You watch me work, my friend, you'll never go broke in a strange town.
Shut up and deal.
Ante up.
50.
50. And 100 more.
Before the draw? You're bluffing. Call and give me 2.
You're a gravedigger. Dealer takes 3.
$200.
You 2. And raise you 500.
All right, Parker. What have you got?
Looks to me like about 2 pair.
Well, that just don't happen to be the full house.
Might. Seeing as how it's 2 of the same pair. 4 jacks.
Keep your hands off those chips. You're not going to cheat me out of this pot.
You're talking wild, Finch.
All of you saw me. I threw in 2 discards. One of them was a jack, and there's only 4 jacks in the deck. He dealt himself my jack. That's how he's been winning. Cheating like a dirty rat. Well, you're through cheating, Mr. Parker.
Hold on.
Spy, Mr. Bass!
Did the kid see it?
Yeah, he saw.
All right, you know what to do with this.
Get him to a doctor.
Where's Ted?
I haven't seen him.
There he is.
And I wanted to be like him. To go with them. A man who cheats at cards is more than a snake. I wish I never seen him. I don't think he's a friend of my pa's either. Pa wouldn't have nothing to do with a skunk like him.
Maybe your father didn't know him for what he is. Anyway, he gave Mr. Parker this to give to you. Your Aunt Amy will keep it for you. It's worth quite a lot of money. Your pop wanted you to have an education.
Thank you, Vint, for everything. Care to walk home with us?
I like that.
What are you doing there? No. Take anything you want. Anything. But don't do that. Don't do it now. Why? No, please. Don't. Please.
Oh, Bessie. Oh, Shorty. Won't you listen to that cow now?
Oh, it's not one of your little people, Dad. It's just a cow.
There's something wrong with that cow, Michael.
Well, maybe she's hungry, huh?
She's not feeding, she's one. Now, why should a cow be going unmilked this far into the day?
Say, Dad, you don't suppose Mr. Danfield's sick, do you?
Now, what's the use of supposing when it just takes a minute to find out? Mr. Danfield! Mr. Danfield! 'Tis Sean O'Hara.
Well, why don't you see if it's locked?
Do you suppose it's all right?
Of course it's all right.
Mr. Danfield? Lord preserve us. Michael, run quickly for the doctor. He's still breathing. Hurry, lad. And bring the sheriff, too.
Well, son, you might as well slow down. We're not going to get any place tonight. Spring jobs are over and the summer jobs haven't started yet. Evening, ma'am. Tell you the truth, Scar, I've been dawdling on purpose. I've been kind of hoping to spend another night out on the range. Being a horse, you wouldn't know, but the ground's a lot softer than some of those 25-cent hotel beds. So, if you don't mind. Say, do you see a light flickering up behind those trees?
As cold as the clay. Oh, beat the drum slowly and play the fife lowly and play the dead march as you carry me along. Take me to the green valley, there lay the sod o'er me, for I'm a young cowboy and know I've done wrong.
Howdy. Howdy. Don't stop. That sounds mighty pretty.
Well, it gets kind of tiresome when you hear it all the time like I do.
It's better listen to those coyotes.
That's about all. Say, I'd be real proud to have you stay for supper, friend. Though I got nothing but beans. There's one thing you can say for beans, though. There's always plenty to go around.
Thanks very much. Not much obliged, but I got some grub of my own.
You have? What do you got?
Beans.
Yeager's the name. Toby Yeager.
Vint Bonner.
Vint Bonner? Well, what do you know? See, I've heard a lot about you. And, that six-shooter.
That's a mighty pretty guitar you got there.
Oh, it ain't much, but it sure is company.
I know what you mean. It's pretty lonely on the trail. Sometimes I figure I might end up talking to my horse.
Oh, beat the drum slowly and play the fife lowly and play the dead march as you carry me along.
Why didn't you join in, Mr. Bonner? Your voice can't be any worse than mine.
Well, all right, but remember, you asked for it.
Take me to the green valley, there lay the sod o'er me, for I'm a young cowboy and know I've done wrong.
There go the neighbors complaining again.
I guess it ain't one of their favorites.
I always liked a good tune, but I never could do much about carrying one.
Oh, there ain't much to carrying a tune. All you got to do is face up to it and get a good grip on it.
Who in the name of heaven would want to kill poor Homer Danfield? But there wasn't a better liked man anywhere in this whole valley.
But, Sean, that's got nothing to do with it. Whoever it was looking for valuables.
Now, Sheriff, who around here would be looking for valuables in Mr. Danfield's place?
Well, how much of a chance has he got, Doc?
Don't feel much like sleeping, do you?
No. Not with all those beans in me.
Here's one I'll bet you never even heard.
and growing old. Silver threads among the gold.
That's a real pretty tune.
Sort of gets close to you. Name of it is Silver Threads Among the Gold.
Always young and fair to me.
That's mighty pretty. How come I haven't heard of that before?
Oh, I guess it just hasn't got this far west yet.
Don't tell me you're from the east.
Now, ain't that a heck of a thing to say to somebody? My home's in Utah. I spent a couple of months in Chicago last winter.
You like it back there?
No, not me. I was afraid of the horse cars. Headed back west first chance I got, and that's where I propose to stay. I've been laying track for the Santa Fe.
How they coming with that railroad?
They ain't at the moment. They got the line built as far as the town of Peaceful back there. Then they had to stop and straighten out some ruckus about the right-of-way. So I took my pay and bought that spindly mare back there and figured I'd mosey on for somewheres else.
Restless type, huh?
No cure for it.
Trouble is with you, son, you can't tell a good tune from a bad one. That's why you're still a horse. You are now approaching the outskirts of the town of Peaceful. That's the Homer Danfield estate up ahead. Looks like old Homer's got himself some company. Howdy, Mr. O'Hara. Well, open your eyes, man. It's been butter.
Ah, for the love of heaven, of course it is indeed. Why, I didn't know you were around these parts at all. Oh, but 'tis a blessed miracle you've come, Mr. Bonner.
What do you mean?
A terrible thing has happened to poor Homer Danfield.
How's that?
Poor old Danfield's been shot. He's lying in there now, hovering between life and death.
Do you know who shot him?
I don't know. I think it was a thief of some kind. Me and my boy Michael, we just happened along here yesterday. 'Twas about noon. And there he lay, with a hole in his chest that big. Sure, he hasn't drawn a conscious breath since.
Howdy, Sheriff.
Well, Ben Bonner, where'd you come from?
Just passing through.
How's Mr. Danfield?
Came to for a couple of minutes.
Did he say anything?
Not much. Fella broke in night before last, long about midnight. Homer didn't know him. Wasn't even sure he'd know him next time.
Is someone trying to rob the place?
Made off with about $50. Homer came on him prowling around the room, and fella throwed lead at him.
You think he'll pull through?
I don't know. He's lost a lot of blood. Doc thinks it might have nicked one of his lungs.
The poor old devil. I'd like to get my hands on him.
Could Homer give you a description of the fellow?
It's pretty vague. It was dark. Could have been anybody. There was one thing, though. The way Homer tells it, it was a little while before he passed out, and he could hear this fella searching around, plundering through drawers and all, and singing to himself while he done it.
Singing?
Homer ain't too sure in his own mind, but I don't ever remember hearing anything like it. Silver and gold and getting old.
Silver and gold and getting old?
Yeah.
No, I ain't never heard a song like that.
You, Vin? Vin, you ever hear anything like that?
I've heard something sounds mighty similar. Sheriff, how'd you like to do some riding?
Yeah.
As I said to the sheriff, there might be no connection at all. It was a new song in the West, but if I knew it, maybe others knew it too. He'd said he was heading south, and that's the way it looked when we picked up the trail. A ways beyond Little Creek, he'd turned west toward the mountain. Funny thing was, it didn't look like he'd been in too much of a hurry. Even after nightfall, there was enough moon to make out his tracks. And along about 9 o'clock, we were getting up around Porcupine Peak.
What is it?
I thought I heard something up ahead. I could be wrong. It could be the wind changed.
As I walk.
He must be up around that bend.
I think we better move in on foot.
I came up on her last night. He seemed tame enough.
All right. I'll take your word for it.
Wrapped in white linen, as cold as the flame. Oh, beat the drums.
Howdy again.
Howdy, Yeager.
I thought this morning you was headed the other way.
Well, this morning I was.
Don't tell me you was drawed back by the music.
In a way, yes. This is Cleet Gentle from the town of Peaceful back yonder.
Peaceful and gentle, huh? Now that's got a real pretty sound. I'm proud to make your acquaintance, Mr. Gentle.
Evening.
Did you ever meet Mr. Gentle when you were working at Peaceful?
Not that I can recall.
He's the sheriff there.
Wow. Surprised I missed you, Sheriff. I guess I just wasn't there long enough to get in any trouble. You fellas ain't just riding around this time of night, are you?
No, we're not. We're looking for a man. Farmer named Danfield was shot and robbed the other night.
Oh, well now, I'm right sorry to hear that.
Danfield doesn't remember who shot him, but he remembers the song he was singing.
Song? You mean he was singing to him same time he was shooting him?
I noticed that you were going real good at that music when we came up.
Now, hold up there, Sheriff. I do my singing mostly to amuse myself. Or any stray coyotes that happen to be passing by.
The fellow we're looking for was singing a song not everybody knows.
He was, huh?
Yeah, it's the one you were playing to me last night.
Oh, what song was that, Mr. Bonner?
Silver Threads Among the Gold. If I recollect rightly, you said it was a new song.
Well, that's right, it is.
One you'd picked up back east.
Yeah, that's right, I did, but you figure that ties me in with the shooting?
Well, it narrows it down a lot.
Now, ain't you fellas kind of jumping to conclusions?
Nobody's accusing you of anything, Mr. Yeager.
Well, all right, sir. Then what can I do for you?
I'd like you to take a ride back to Peaceful with us. Let Homer Danfield take a look and see if he can identify you.
Well, he's still alive?
Did you think he was dead?
I didn't think nothing. Now, it ain't unusual for a man to die when he's been shot.
No, it ain't unusual. How much money you got on you?
I guess about $45.
Would you mind letting me take a look at it?
Well, it's just plain American money.
20, 30, 45, 6, 7, 48. $48.
Is that a sign of something?
Homer Danfield had about $50 stashed away that he doesn't have anymore.
Well, now, so did the Santa Fe Railroad, till they paid me off the other day. That money can prove where it came from.
Yeager, I see you're wearing a gun.
Well, that makes 3 of us wearing a gun, don't it, Sheriff?
You'd better let me have yours, and then let's get started back to Peaceful.
All right. I'll go peaceful-like. Look, if it won't hold us up any, I'd like to get my pack together and my horse saddled.
I'll give you a hand.
Well, much obliged, Mr. Bonner. Would you mind fastening my music box to the back of my saddle? I sure wouldn't want to leave that little contraption behind.
It had been an all-night ride for Toby Yeager. For me and Sheriff Gentle, it had been all night and all day and then all night. As far as I was concerned, I couldn't tell where I stopped and the saddle started. The only thing that made me feel worse was when I looked at Yeager riding alongside. He was just, he was just so darn cheerful.
This time next week, you could be at the end of a rope.
Well, I tell you, Mr. Bonner, it ain't that often an innocent man gets hung. Now, we'll see this Mr. Danfield of yours, and he'll see me. And we'll all feel a lot better, and I'll be on my way to Utah.
Or someplace.
Sheriff Gentle. Hold up a minute. Would that be the man you're after looking for?
Afraid Homer Danfield will have to be the one to tell us that.
Homer Danfield. God rest his soul. Homer Danfield won't be telling anybody anything. He left us just a little bit before midnight.
Well, now, that's a pity.
You're a fine one to be calling it that?
Did Homer say anything before he passed away?
Not a thing. Nary a word. Well, I have me chores to be doing now. I'll be off to Danfield's after that.
Thank you, Sean.
Well, looks like I lost my star witness.
Well, one of us did. I don't know which.
What do we do now, Sheriff?
Now, that is a question. Just what would you do, Vince?
I'd be gol darn glad I wasn't the sheriff. Sheriff.
I'm neutral.
So it seems. Look, you can't put the man on trial for murder just because he knows a song nobody else knows.
All right. Here's your money. Here's your gun.
Well, I'm real sorry I put you in all this trouble, Sheriff. Sure enjoyed your company, though. Yours too, Mr. Bonner.
Care to ride over to the Danfield place with me, Vince? Looks like we've got to start all over.
Let's go.
That's just what it amounted to. Hours and hours of riding for nothing.
And what are you going to do now, Sheriff?
Blamed if I know. Got a vague description that fits most anybody, and a few silly words out of a song that nobody ever heard of.
Didn't tell us the fellow's name yet, Sheriff.
Yeager.
Toby Yeager.
Yeager? That's not the fellow that used to work for the railroads, is it?
That's right, Mike. Leastwise, that's what he says.
Well, it's a good job that we didn't hang him.
And why's that?
I'll tell you why. He was with me till well up in the evening the other night. Both of us got into a poker game over at Red Philpotts.
You did, huh?
So you're after that being at it again, are you, Michael O'Hara? Losing your good money in a poker game, Abby.
Now, you can't lose money from a fella like Yeager. At least he's not the second time around.
Why not?
Because he's a bluffer. You know, he's got the best poker face I ever saw in any man, and always the worst hand to go with it.
How did the game turn out?
Poor Yeager. He just took all his pay from the railroad, and he lost every last cent of it.
How much would that be?
Oh, I don't know, $50, $60 maybe?
Wish my horse weren't so plumb tuckered out. Because he's really got to do some traveling. Hello, Yeager. Don't let me stop. You go right ahead.
Ain't it a small world? No matter which way I go, Mr. Bonner, I seem bound to run into you.
Sure does seem that way, doesn't it?
Why don't you sit down and have a bite to eat with me?
You know, it sure would have saved a lot of wear and tear on that guitar of yours if I'd have known you were a poker player. You do like poker, don't you?
Oh, sure. I like a good game of poker now and again.
You play a cool, steady game?
Why do you ask that?
I figure sometimes you can look at a man and figure out what kind of a hand he plays. You, for instance. I figure you'd pick up 3 cards to fill a straight.
You sure can't spot him, Mr. Bonner.
You drew 1 card too many.
I ain't sure I follow you, Mr. Bonner.
That money you're carrying, that isn't railroad money. You lost your pay in a poker game 2 nights ago. Mike O'Hara was sitting in the game.
Well, supposing he was.
That was the cards you needed.
Oh?
Suppose we go back to Peaceful, and you explain where you got that $48.
I'm much obliged to you, Vince.
I'm glad I could help you, Sheriff.
You know, if we hadn't got that man, I might have had to charge you with it. 'Cause after all, you knew that song, too.
I'm afraid you'll be learning it yourself one of these days, Sheriff.
We'll take that out of him in a hurry.
Mr. Bonner. I hope I run into you again sometime.
Well, that'd be nice. That's what they called him downriver in the Rio Grande Valley. We had been tracking him since dawn. Tracks as big as a grizzly's. But only now, up close, did I realize how much his name really fitted him. The Brute.
He don't mean for us to take him without killing him.
Just the way an animal figures.
Yeah, I understand he broke Zach Waller's spine like it was a dry twig. I sure don't mean to get close enough to him for him to pile me up.
Marshal, try talking to him once more.
All right. Listen good, Bruto! You might be mute, but you ain't deaf. Now I'm taking you in one way or the other. Nice and peaceful, or good and dead. He made his choice.
Don't kill him, Marshal.
What else can I do?
He's over there to the right. Keep your gun on him. See if you can hold his attention.
Well, what are you going to do?
Did you ever capture wild horses? The idea is to crease their skull, bring them down good as new. Anyway, that's the idea. I never had much luck at it myself.
Use this?
No, I'm more used to this one.
Complain about your luck today, Vance. You ought to stick to wild humans.
Maybe it wasn't luck. Maybe it had something to do with it being Christmas Eve.
Like what?
Well, I'd kind of hate to be a party to a killing on a day like today. That's what I was thinking when I squeezed off the trigger.
Yeah?
Well, maybe you wouldn't call it thinking. More like praying. So he strung him up like a prize bull and took him along. Stop a minute, Marshal. Here, hold this.
We're never going to reach San Felipe tonight.
I was thinking about that.
Well, I'm sorry I dragged you away from your ranch, Van. Spoiled your Christmas with the boys.
That's all right, Marshal. There's one thing sadder than our overgrown friend here. It's a bunch of cowboy strays on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, Mrs. had me all fixed up to play Santa Claus for the kids tonight.
What are we going to do? Any place we can lay over? I don't relish camping out with him.
Over there near Ocati Creek, there's a mission orphanage run by the Franciscans. Padre Basilico's a fine man. What did I say to set him off?
I don't know. Let's go.
Tonight is the last night of the Posada. Truly a night for miracles. First, the heart of the cruel innkeeper shall melt like snow before the fire. You are the Blessed Mother Mary, and you are Saint Joseph. Tonight you will find refuge and shelter. Then, miracle of miracles, a child shall be born. The infant Savior who will bring light and hope to a dark world. And so, my niños, that is why tonight must be full of happiness and joy. Continue with the posada, Brother Terence.
Now, Don Jesus, you'll be remembering what you have to do.
Si, Padre.
Irena?
Si.
And I'll be taking me leave to the barn. Oh, wretched me. Oh, blessed Saint Brigid and Saint Patrick, look down upon a poor Irishman in a strange land with strange ways, and be remembering I'm only playing a part. The foul, heartless innkeeper.
He could not do it. I do not believe he could do such a thing.
I'm sorry, Padre. All I know is what I heard from Sheriff Dutcher.
But
he was working for two brothers named Waller on a farm near Socorro. He killed one of them with his bare hands.
Why do you say he couldn't have done such a thing, Padre?
He was one of our boys here years ago.
Oh. That explains why he got so excited when you mentioned the Padre's name.
John, look at me. You remember me, Padre Basilico? You reject even me. Oh, what has this world done to you? He was such a gentle boy.
I beg of you, with all your charity, to give shelter to this lady?
My house awaits only him who has money, and heaven help him who has none.
I am the Queen of Heaven.
Sure, that's what I've been waiting to hear, me darlings. Come in, welcome everybody. Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad. There's plenty of room in the inn. Come on in now. Come in, darlings. Come in, little one. There you go. Come on in now. There's the goodbyes. Come in, sister.
All right, Padre, we've got to bed this big fella down for the night. You got a place that'll hold him?
See, this part of the barn was once used by the Army of Mexico as a prison.
All right, Bruto. John, get going.
Inside, Bruto. Inside. Juan. Por favor.
Now then, me beautiful Queen of Heaven, you're all ready to hit the piñata. Thank you, sister. Here you are. Now, I'll make very sure that you don't know where it is. 1, 2, 3, and don't look at me with it. Now, hit. Now, and I'm going to make very sure that you don't know where it is.
Well, we don't like it neither, Padre, but he's dangerous.
Everyone is invited to join in our simple Christmas pleasures.
That human ox has gotten under my skin.
Something from you.
'Twas a fine day in September in the merry month of July. The morning it was raining and the afternoon was dry. When I met a fair damoiselle sitting under the gnarled oak tree, and even a word I said to her, and she said the same to me.
He must be very hungry. Why are you here?
All right, now, if you insist. I just happen to have a touching little ballad from my native land about St. Joseph himself. By the way, where is little Jesus?
cannot explain it, my son. The many things that can happen to a man. But it is right that you look upon every living thing with love. John was given to a family of settlers on their way to California for adoption. How did these men get him? Did they know how to treat a boy who could not speak? Who was full of fear because of the shame of it? Can you answer me these things, Marshal?
Sorry, Padre. All this star means to me is doing my duty, like I was told to do it.
Yes. Yes, I suppose that is so. Buenas noches.
Good night, Padre.
I don't know about you, but I'm raw frazzled. I'm gonna get some sleep.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I feel like the devil.
I still couldn't find it in my heart to kill the big one. The marshal was shaken up some, but not hurt bad. Maybe I could knock him out. Hold it, Bruto. Bruto, you remember butt guns, don't you? Yeah, you remember. All right, move back. Go on, move.
Give us side door.
Padre, is there another way out of the barn?
Oh, no, senor.
Oh, just found out. An old story for him. Trapped again. Padre, you better get the children back inside.
Oh, yes. Brother Terence, take the children back inside.
Maybe you better go inside too, Padre. If he breaks out, we'll have to shoot him down.
That you, Dutcher?
Sure is, Walt. Well, I finally caught up with you.
Well, you've got the brute in there, ain't you? Why ain't he dead by now? You're the law. You know what he's done.
You got something wrong, mister. This isn't a lynching party.
I've heard those stories, how you and your brother mistreated those Mexicans that work on that farm of yours. There's talk that you bullwhipped that mute in there. Even yoked him to a plow.
You don't know what you're saying. Zach and me took him in from a burnt wagon 10 years ago and give him a home. Well, we made him earn his board and keep. But we never hurt him none. Never whipped him like you say. And that's the Lord's truth.
Senor.
Padre.
What is it, Brother Terence?
Padre, have you seen little Jesus? I can't find him anywhere.
It's awfully quiet in that barn.
You don't think?
I don't know. But the lad sure took a fancy to him.
Be careful. He's got a gun. Looks like he's going to shoot the kid.
You don't aim to kill him, I will.
So you and your brother never whipped him. Look at his back.
Now you do it.
In nomine Padre, et Filio et Spiritus Sanctus. O merciful God, grant to all of us here the wisdom thou hast poured forth into this soul of this simple child. Grant that we may not so much seek to be consoled as to console others, to be understood as to understand, or to be loved as to love. For it is in giving we know, O Lord, that we receive. For it is in pardoning that we ourselves are pardoned. Amen. Jesus, you take your new friend inside. Find him a place to sleep. He must be very tired. Take him.
Padre, you know I have to take him back.
Oh, do not worry. I will be responsible for him. Marshal Jason and Senor Bonner We'll bring him to San Felipe.
Sure, Padre. But you know that John has to stand trial. But if I know my people, it'll be a clear verdict of self-defense. Come on, boys.
When the trial ends, as we hope it will, I will bring John back here. It is the only real home he has ever known. He loves the children. He will be happy here.
I think it's going to be a beautiful Christmas.
Mira, la estrella de pastor, amigos.
The morning star.
Peace on earth, gentlemen. Unless your roots are anchored deep, it doesn't take much of a wind to start you rolling on. And me and the tumbleweeds have this in common. We're rooted shallow. It was late October, the sun was still hot, but the nights were getting an edge to them, and wedges of geese lined the sky at sunup. Guess I was following them south.
Yeah, boy.
Mister, I wonder if you'd... Mister!
Well, howdy. Hey, let me give you a hand. I walked to before, but I didn't see you come up.
Oh, all right.
That's real good. Much obliged. Well, let's see if we can find a shoe to fit you.
Hey, he looks like he's throwed a shoe.
Yeah, about 5 miles back up the road.
No use yelling. He's deaf as a post.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, being deaf has its points, especially when you're married to a woman who rattles on the way I've been doing for the last 50 years. Maybe that's why he lost his hearing, so he wouldn't have to listen to me. Anyways, we made it to our golden anniversary, and we still enjoy having each other around.
Congratulations, ma'am.
Clay?
Yeah?
I got you a present.
A present for me? Ain't gold, is it? Now, Emily, what did I ever do to deserve this?
Just gold-plated for our golden anniversary.
What's that you're saying?
Our golden anniversary.
Oh, our golden anniversary. And I clean forgot.
You'd forget your head if it wasn't tied on. Maybe you just don't want to remember how long it's been. But I do, Mr. Davis, because they've been good years, every one of them.
What's that you're saying?
Nothing. How do you like your belt?
Well, Emily, it's real pretty. But what you should have bought me is one of them there ear trumpets.
All aboard! We're moving out, folks. All aboard!
throw the box down.
Nothing in it worth stealing.
I'll be the best judge of that. Throw it down. Now your gun.
Old buckle, huh? I'll take that too. Pull it off. I said, give me the belt.
He can't hear you. He's deaf.
Get over here.
Don't touch my...
Come on.
Oh, my darling. Oh.
Haven't you done enough?
I'd seen the geese flying south and listening to them talking to each other. I thought of what that lady had said about being deaf and how maybe it has its points. And I wanted to tell her how wrong she was.
Hold it! Kid, he's covered.
Yeah, but why?
Ah, there were two of you. Where's your partner?
Is there supposed to be someone else?
Don't be funny. We want straight answers, and we want them mighty quick.
Kit Springer, isn't it? Is that any way to say hello?
Bonner? Vin Bonner?
Sure. Why don't you put that thing down and have a cup of coffee?
Well, Vince, what a sight for sore eyes. Put it away, Lex.
You mean you know this fella?
Know him? Why, he and I rode the Bitterroot Range together.
Sorry, we didn't know it was you.
Who did you have in mind?
You see, we're members of a posse. A couple of boys held up the stage last night.
A couple of boys? How did you figure on me? I'm all alone except for my horse Scar here.
You could have split up.
No, men on the run ain't apt to do that. Well, does the order for coffee still hold?
Sure, help yourself. You say they held up a stage.
Yeah.
Could have been the one I saw pulling out of Cottonwood yesterday.
Yeah, more likely. There was some shooting. One of the passengers got himself shot. There you are, Lex. Good and hot.
Thank you.
You know which one it was?
It was some old man. He didn't do what they told him to do, on account of he was stone deaf.
Oh, that's too bad. Poor fella. How about his wife?
Nobody hurt her. Just the old man. Oh, this is my brother, Lex. You know, he was just a kid when you and I were riding the Bitterroot Range.
Hi.
Sheriff at Cottonwood. He grabbed a couple of dozen boys and swore us in as a posse. That's why we took a shot at you. We're sorry.
Sorry with me, as long as you missed. Where's the rest of your posse?
With the sheriff. He thinks the killers are headed for Patch Canyon. We don't see it that way.
No, we figured that they would head for the South Pass. Because if they made it, they'd be in the clear. With nobody between them and the border.
Sounds reasonable.
Well, not so reasonable now we run into you. That is, unless you've seen somebody pass during the night.
Only thing I saw was a flight of geese.
Well, I reckon our hunch was wrong. Because they would have to come right by here. This is the only trail, isn't it?
That's right. Of course, I've had my fire burning for a couple of hours. They could have seen it and gone around.
Well, yeah, that's right, Kit. They could have. Maybe our hunch is right yet.
Well, that's no good, even if it is. Because, you see, we don't know the route from here on in. We've never been through the pass.
I thought you boys said you were from Cottonwood.
No. No, we were on our way through Cottonwood when the sheriff grabbed us and put us in the posse. We're from up north, Fort Drexel way.
Yeah. Say, you come through Cottonwood, Bonner. You must be heading south, huh?
That's right, I am.
Well, looks like we hit it lucky, Kit. That is, if you don't mind us riding with you.
Well, sorry with me. Come along. But you sure are going a long way just playing a hunch. It's over a day's travel here through the pass, and you have no assurance that the fellas you're looking for took this trail.
Yeah, we know that, Vance. But for $1,500, we can spare the time. That's the reward they're offering.
$1,500. That's worth taking some time for.
If the posse catches them, that money will be split 40 ways to breakfast. But if we catch them, see what I mean?
Sure. You split it 2 ways.
3, if you're along, Van. That's $500 apiece.
I'm afraid I can't count that high.
Then you'll take us through the pass.
Sure, since I'm traveling south anyway.
All right, let's get started.
You bring up your horses, and I'll straighten out my gear. wasn't much of a trail, just a little rocky path that wound up the mountain. It was hard riding, too. I had to hand it to the Springer brothers, though. They never complained. I'd taken this route before, so I knew what to expect. But it was all new to them.
What are we stopping for?
Give the horses some rest. They need it. I'm afraid you fellows are in for a bit of a disappointment.
Oh, about what?
About that $1,500. Hasn't been anybody along this way for 2-3 days. Not since it rained, anyway.
Oh, well, men on the run, they wouldn't leave tracks if they didn't have to, and they wouldn't have to here. They could go around, you know.
Yeah, have you seen any tracks?
I've been so busy riding, I haven't had time to look.
Me neither. Well, I've been doing enough looking for the three of us.
Well, maybe somehow they got ahead of us.
In that case, there wouldn't be much sense in you fellas going on, would there?
What do you think, Lex?
I'd sure hate to turn back now.
Well, why don't you ride up the trail and look for tracks, and I'll climb up here and look back where we've been, huh?
Right.
While you're gone, I'll make us a pot of coffee.
It's too hot for coffee. Don't light a fire.
Oh, it won't take a minute.
I said don't light a fire. I mean, it's just that it's too hot.
I see. Well, maybe you're right. For a big man, you move awful quiet, kid.
I didn't know you were asleep. I didn't mean to wake you. I just wanted to borrow some of that water.
Sure. Help yourself.
Thanks.
You spot anything from up there?
No, not a soul. Did you pick up any tracks?
Oh, there's nothing but rocks up ahead. Oh, I could use some of that. Sure is hot.
You think this is bad? There's about 10 miles up ahead that's nothing but rocks and rattlesnakes.
Well, does it get better after that?
Sure. But by that time, a man's too beat to care. If I were you boys, I'd turn back to Cottonwood.
Well, we've come this far. We might as well go the rest of the way.
Suits yourself. That's nice-looking belts you're wearing.
Huh?
That belt. I don't think I ever saw one like it. Is it gold?
Oh, yeah. Mex. Got it in Nogales.
Thought you fellas said you were from up north.
Well, we drift a lot. You know, jobs ain't easy to find.
Oh. Sure is a nice belt. Too bad you got it all spotted up there.
Spotted up?
Yeah, looks like dried blood.
That's what it is, all right. I cut my wrist a few days back. Bled all over myself. I'll probably have a heck of a time getting that thing clean.
Yeah, blood stains are apt to be kind of permanent. Too bad. Nice buckle.
Well, if we're going, we'd better get started.
Yeah. Guess you're right.
Looks like there's 3 of them now. They must have picked up someone on the trail.
Well, for his sake, I hope he's a friend of the Springer boys.
Why did you tell him that cock and bull story about your wrist? He keeps trying to get a look at your hand.
Well, I had to tell him something.
Well, keep your paws out of sight. Are you still looking for tracks?
No, I'm looking for the trail.
I thought you knew your way around here.
I thought so, too.
Well, we're never going to catch them at this rate.
You're the fellas trying to make the 1,500, not me. Hey, Lex, you happen to have a knife? I gotta make a hole in the cinch.
Sure. Yeah, looks like it's fixing to rain.
It's probably raining down there already.
If it does, we'll never find those tracks. The rain will cover them.
The only tracks on this trail they're gonna cover will be ours. We better be getting on. Oh. I almost forgot to give you your knife back. Say, you're bleeding again.
Yeah? Dang thing keeps breaking open.
Yeah.
I was easy in my mind again for the first time in hours. Not afraid to turn my back on them anymore. I guess they were what they seemed to be. Two harebrained saddle tramps down on their luck, chasing a rainbow.
Doc, which way would you go? Not over the South Pass, that's for certain sure. Too tough a trail. Longer to the border that way, but a lot faster, safer, and easier to follow. You're forgetting one thing. The Springer boys don't know this country. We're both forgetting something. They picked somebody up along the way. That somebody could know where he was going. Right. Let's take the South Pass.
Lay off. You want him to get suspicious again?
If he does, it'll be the last time. We don't need him anymore. He's taken us far enough.
He still hasn't said which way the pass is or how far.
Get him to say it. We ought to be moving on and fast.
Now, you think it's so easy, you get him to say it yourself. Moon ought to be out pretty soon.
About an hour or so.
Think it'll give out much light?
Maybe.
Up to see by?
See what?
Well, you said we were almost through the pass.
We still got some ways to go.
Well, then why did we stop here? The horses could have felt their way.
Simmer down, Kit. You're not going to find those men you were looking for. Posse probably caught them hours ago.
Maybe. And maybe not. I'm still playing my hunch.
Any towns up ahead, Bonner?
English Creek, if you want to call that a town.
People live there, don't they? In that case, maybe somebody's seen those men we're chasing.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow morning. Look, if you fellows are so anxious, why don't you go on ahead? I'll tell you the trail. The trail's pretty good from here to the timberline. You get to the timberline, cross a patch of shale, about 100 yards or so. Then you take a sharp left-hand turn and go straight up. There's a cairn, a pile of stones there to mark the place. Don't miss it, you'll wind up at the foot of a cliff. And at the top of a ridge, you go a couple miles further, and it should be smooth sailing. That is, if you're still in one piece.
Well, Vince, you've sold us.
On what?
About waiting until daylight.
You sure changed your mind fast, but you're smart.
Well, now, look, we're going to shove off early. Now that we know the way, there's no reason for you to get over the chickens, unless you just want to.
That's all right with me. I'm in no hurry.
Well, you'll still come in for the $500, though, as soon as we collect.
Don't mind about that. Like I said, I was going south anyway. It's kind of funny you fellas never went through South Pass before.
What's so funny about it?
Well, you were telling me about all that drifting around.
Never been down this way before.
By the way, who is the sheriff of Cottonwood?
Now, what difference does that make?
I was just trying to remember.
We don't remember his name, Bonner. There wasn't time for any formal knockdown. Folks just called him sheriff.
Well, if I'm still asleep when you boys take off, so long and good luck.
Thanks.
As far as I could tell, they hadn't been lying to me. A man could join up with the posse and not find out the sheriff's name. And I guess a man could ride himself half to death on the off chance of earning a $1,500 reward, if he had a mind to. Of course, Kit's hunch about those outlaws using South Pass for a getaway hadn't worked out. Or had it?
Got into you. You had your chance. He was asleep. Why couldn't you do it?
Well, he may have been asleep, but I could see his gun belt sticking out from under the blanket.
Could see his gun belt. You mean you were just looking for an out, any kind of out? Well, not me.
Look, let's go and leave him be. He can be plenty of trouble.
You gone clear yellow or something? He knows our names, what we look like. How long before he figures we're worth $1,500, alive or dead?
You had to go and kill that old man. He only had a few more years to live, and you had to go and kill him.
All those years of hard times, they sure turned you soft, didn't they, brother? Soft and clear yellow.
You got him! Kid! Kid? Kid?
You live, Vince, so stop fussing.
What are you doing way out here, Doc?
You just stay put till I finish here. Ain't no law saying a doctor can't go along with a posse, is there? Figured somebody was going to get shot, only I didn't count on it being you.
Neither did I. I hit one of them. Missed the other, I think.
You missed him all right, but you sure scared daylights out of his horse. That critter come down the trail like heck wouldn't have it. When we tried to head him off by firing a shot at him, he went over the cliff. Springer tried to jump clear, but he couldn't seem to tear himself loose from the saddle.
This is why. It got hooked over the saddle horn. The horse drug him down the side of the mountain. He was dead before we could get to him. The young one killed the old man for this when they held up the stagecoach.
Yeah, I talked to the widow. She gave it to him for their 50th wedding anniversary.
Bonner, you're $1,500 richer.
Gold plate. Worth maybe $2, $3. 50 years. Sheriff, would you send that reward money to the old man's widow? You've seen towns like this, where all you can see is one brand. This one was called Temple. The hotel, saloon, barbershop, everything Temple. Not that I've got anything against one man owning so much real estate. Sometimes it works out just fine. Sometimes it doesn't.
Well, as I live and breathe, if it ain't Will Fetter.
Well, how about that? In town and doing the marketing. Thought that was women's work.
You ought to make a skirt out of that flour sack, Will. Them pants are a little deceiving, ain't they?
I don't want no trouble with you fellas.
Trouble? You asking for trouble, Will?
No, I ain't asking for trouble. I ain't asking for anything.
No, Will, I guess you ain't.
Let me buy.
That yours?
You know what it is.
Yeah, it's a shame, Will. Pretty little rig like that all run down. Gotta give it a coat of paint. Yellow, maybe?
Let me buy.
Like you say, it's your rig.
Oh, gee, Will. Flour! Come on, fellas. Let's clean it up for him. Oh, come on, get away. You're getting dirty.
Don't get any dirt in it, fellas.
Have a little straw. Oh, you're getting dirt in my flour. Saddle back,
Careful you don't get dirt.
Come on, fellas.
Three to 1. The odds are a little better now.
You're playing it alone. You'll get no help from him.
All right, what'll it be, one at a time or both at once?
You know what's good for you, mister?
I never seem to, somehow.
All right. All right.
Ned?
You talking to me, mister?
Aren't you Ned Techman?
Name's Fetter.
Red, see he gets back to the ranch.
"10 years ago, down Cheyenne way."
You got the wrong party. I ain't never been in Cheyenne. You can call off your hounds, Temple. Chew me up all you want to, but you're not gonna push me off that land.
Cattle starving, place going to dust. The way you run it, you're not even fit to be on that land.
That don't happen to be the way I see it.
I told you what I'd give you for it. $2 an acre, that's a fair enough price.
Not 2 an acre nor 20.
I want that land.
No!
I've never made any bones about it.
No, do you understand? And I'm warning you, Temple, you stay away from there.
Go on. Tell me what you do. I'd be real interested to find out.
Here. Here.
Sure.
That's a waste of good whiskey. Depends on what you use it for.
Joe, give me the bottle. There's quite a show you put on out there.
I'd heard you were good with a gun, but your fists.
You are Vint Bonner, aren't you?
Sure.
Yep, quite a show.
That depends on how you look at it.
You mean Will? Let me tell you about that. People around here don't particularly care for Will Fetter. He's as yellow a coward as a man can get. You can call him names, insult him. He'll just stand there and take it.
Where I come from, a coward is a man you leave alone. Unless he's got something you want.
Well, there isn't much in this region I don't already have.
You'd be Temple. I should have known.
Where are you headed, Bonner?
Pine Valley?
Oh, yeah. They pay top wages up there, I understand. 20 a month, bunk and board. I'll pay you 30.
30?
In advance. You like my deal, you stay. You don't, you keep your 30 and you're on your way.
Your payroll seems full enough. Why ask me?
Can always use a good man. All right. Let's say I make it 40.
You can go after a man. You go after a man to get him, don't you?
If he's worth it. Well?
That fellow, Will Fetter.
What about him?
I knew a man who was a spitting image of him. Named Techman. Real nice fella. But a real heller when he gets started.
You haven't given me your answer.
Tell me something, Mr. Temple. Anyone ever turn you down?
Not for long, Mr. Bonner. Not for very long. Shall we go?
Temple seemed a fair man. Tough, but fair. Food was good, bunkhouse clean, and $40 a month was a lot of money. But the real reason I hung around was that I wanted to see my friend Ned Techman, who now called himself Will Fetter. Even you aren't low enough to shoot a man in cold blood.
A lucky man, Will. I had this aimed right where your guts ought to be.
His calf, it's dead.
Usually ain't so generous with trespassers. You can call this a warning.
This is 2 in a week. How much am I supposed to take?
You mean how much is your wife supposed to take, don't you, Will? It ain't 2, it's 3. Me and Chavis found one across on the creek bed this morning. Must have got into some poison.
You know, you're really gonna have to do something about that fence of yours, Will. You ain't gonna have no stock left at all.
That fence was all right yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Honest. Honest, I'll...
Yeah, Will? That's right, Will. You cry. But a little calf like that ought to have somebody crying over it. Didn't you say so, Red?
I'd say so.
What about you, Bonner?
Rough a man up, push him around all right. But poison his cattle, cut his fences. Well, I thought you ought to know.
I already know, Mr. Bonner. Fact is, I'm the one who gave the orders to cut down the fences and put the poison out.
Why?
I want Will Fetter's land.
You've got 30,000 acres and you want his 150. $40. Keep it.
All right, go on. Go on. You've seen Will Fetter's side. Hang mine.
Tell me what kind of a side you could possibly have.
This is Temple land, Mr. Bonner. Do you have any idea what that means? I was 5 years old when I came here. Only it wasn't just me then. It was me, my mom, my pa, my 2 brothers. And what do we find? Rich, green meadows. Not a blade. It was all yellow and brown and dust. My pa is soft. He's all for going back. But not Ma. She makes us take it and work it. Makes us trench water from the hills. And our hands are raw. Still we dig and we work and we dig. She keeps at us and it grows. We're fighting every kind of varmint you can think of, human and animal. But it keeps growing. And we keep it ours. And then the war. I go. My brothers go, but when I come back, I've got no brothers, I've got no Ma, I've got no Pa, and no land either. The year I leave, Ma dies and Pa takes over. Without her, she's nothing. You should have seen my land when I got back. People crawling over it just like ants and poking at it and poking at it.
So you set out to get it back?
Every piece. 20 years it takes me, but I get it back. They're willing to sell, I buy. They ain't, I push.
All except Will Fetter. He wouldn't push.
Don't you credit Fetter with anything like that. It's his wife who's holding out. Her land. Her pa left it to her. The why she wants to keep it and will either is beyond my understanding. You ought to see it. I can stand on the ridge and look down on it, and there it is, smack in the middle of Temple Land. A smelly, brown island, dusty. You just have to see it. It's right back where it started 50 years ago. Then I think of my pa, yellow like Will, and what he did to that land. Where are you going?
You said to seize land. That's where I'm going. It didn't take a thinking man to understand Temple's hatred for Will, or anyone he thought yellow, a coward. Wrong about Will or not, they both had Temple's pa to thank for that.
Get away from here! Isn't enough to tear down our fences, poison our herd. Now he's sending his men in here.
Nobody sent me, ma'am. I'm here on my own.
Don't tell me. What are you doing here?
I'd like to talk to your husband, ma'am.
Never mind my husband. I asked you, what do you want?
Oh, then I'd like to talk to you.
Go on, talk.
Well, ma'am, I don't talk so good with a gun pointed at me.
Will! Will! Will!
I'll hurt you, Mrs. Steckman.
All right, Bonner, what do you want here?
Now you know me.
It's all right, Sarah. Is the coffee on?
It's on.
I was feeding the bull. You better finish, honey. Still take it black?
You have got a good memory.
I ought to. We drank enough coffee together.
But to let them push you around, destroy your life, destroy your place, that's not the Techman that I knew.
The man you knew 10 years ago went to prison. Killed a man and got 20 years.
You broke out?
No, nothing like that. I was released 4 years ago. I'm on parole, Vin. One wrong move and I go back. Do you understand what I'm saying? It don't have to be my fault. Just crook my finger. Look cross-eyed, maybe. Make one mistake, just one.
Does your wife know?
Yeah, sure she knows. I tell you, Vin, without her,
Does anyone else know?
No one. I got a kid coming, Vin. That kid has got to have a chance.
Here, in this place?
It's got to be here. This is all we got.
Well, can't you do something? Fix the place up?
How?
Well, you've got two hands.
I've got two hands. And my wife's got two. And what do you think four hands can do with 150 acres when half the time I'm out there mending fences and burying cattle? You know how many bulls I got left, Vint? One! I tell you, once that Temple starts, he don't let up.
Couldn't you get someone in, someone to help you out?
Oh, Vince, you're not listening to me. You haven't heard a thing I said. The word's out on me. I'm poison. I come in here sometimes at night alone when Sarah's asleep. I picked this thing up, Vint. I load it. I think what it can do for me. Both ways. Then I start thinking about prison. And about going back. Then I think I'm in prison. I begin to wonder which is worse.
That's not the answer, Ned.
It's an answer. Not a good one, maybe. But it's all I got. You're not going to tell him. Not Temple. No one. Now keep out of this, Vint. This one's mine. Whatever I do, it'll be my way.
It always was, Ned.
They poisoned the bull. It's dead.
Bonner? I've been waiting for you. Want to talk to you. So you swallowed his whining, is that it?
He wasn't whining.
Not much he was, and I can guess what he said.
No, you can't. But there's something I'd like to tell you.
You ain't, Vint. Well, looky there. If I don't see a gun, Temple, pointed right at your belly. Now, who'd ever believe a thing like that?
Ned, listen to me.
Shut up, Vint. I told you once, no more. Keep out of this. Listen to him. Hey, don't he sound right powerful? With 2 red cents on... What, Temple? It's your turn. Tell me what. Yes, sir. Tough. Real poison. Especially when he's got the drop on an unarmed man. Give him your gun.
Ned, think what you're doing.
Give it to him!
No.
What's the matter, Will? Run out of sand so quick? I'm gonna kill you, Temple.
Ned.
Sure you are. But not from out there. Come close. Get yourself a good clean shot. All the things you've done to me, my wife. Closer. A few feet closer. My stock, my home. There, that's the place. No man could miss from there.
You're talking yourself into a coffin, Temple.
I ain't talking myself into anything. pull it. Man wouldn't be afraid to pull that trigger.
Stay right where you are, all of you.
You won't. Stay out of it, Bonner. I ain't asking to be saved for a thing.
Not you I'm saving.
Stay out of it.
What did you say Temple would do for us? Build a new fence?
And replace your herd. Start you off with a couple of milk cows.
George Temple said that.
Also loan you some money. Maybe to build a new room for the baby. That was my idea.
Will, a new room for the baby. Do you hear that?
Vent it. It just don't make sense, you know that. You cut up a man and prove him wrong. He comes after you with a shotgun. He doesn't hand out presents.
You proved a lot more than that to Temple. You proved to him that you belong on the land.
Even after you're telling him about my being in prison?
He won't tell anyone. He'll keep his word.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Just shake hands, Mr. Temple? No hard feelings? What say we just forget the whole little... You think I'd give him that after what he's put me through?
I don't know. That would take a pretty big man.
Will, if he meant what he said...
I don't care what he said. I'm not taking any handouts from Temple.
You always were a hard-headed cuss, but I never knew you to pass up a good thing.
It's mine to pass.
Not all alone it isn't. That barn of yours is in bad shape. Comes the rain, it's going to leak buckets.
I got buckets.
That's good, because you sure won't be needing them for milk without any cows.
Sarah?
Yes, Will?
Have you still got that blue dress?
Yes, somewhere, but
Well, get it on as fast as you can. I'll hitch up the buckboard.
And Mrs. Stackman, don't worry about dinner. If I know Mr. Temple, he'll ask you to stay.
Well, go on. You want that new room for the baby, don't you? It's going to be a race to get it built as it is. Not that fast. What are you grinning about?
Who's grinning?
Thanks, Vint.
I hope it's a boy. car. Here we go through 10 Mile Canyon again. 10 miles of cliffs no more than 50 feet apart. Oh, there's nothing to feel squeamish about. Besides, it's the only way to get to Smoke Falls. Don't you spook on me.
Who in thunder are you shooting at?
Vint! Vint Bonner!
Well, I'll be.
All right. Put that cannon away.
Art, who you gunning for?
I'm sorry, Vin. It was the sheriff.
Sheriff? Looks like I nicked you. Let me take a look at it.
All right, now, but hurry it up, because that sheriff's going to be coming here with a posse from Smoke Falls.
Hold still.
I'm in real deep trouble, Vin.
Well, it won't help none to panic.
Can't run no more. Horse is going lame. You're out of grub.
Yeah, your arm's gonna be all right. Just took away a little meat.
Thank you.
Now, what's all this about? You in a shooting scrape?
I wish that's all it was. Clyde's dead.
Clyde?
Shot in the back.
Who shot him?
Sheriff Vale says I did it.
You kill your own brother?
Half-brother, Vint. Not that it makes much difference. The sheriff's after me just the same.
Vale, he must be new since I was around.
Well, you don't know what it was like yesterday. Took me down there to the jail. There's a gang of them hanging around listening to George Willis tell how I was a rat, and the sooner they find a rope, the better.
George Willis? I always figured him for decent enough sort.
Me too. Until we both started seeing Nadine Gray. For a while there, it seemed like she liked me better than she liked George. Did you hear that?
You're imagining things. Now, let's take this from the start. Why does the sheriff want to arrest you?
He's got to arrest somebody. George claims he saw me do it. If only I could wait till they cool down some. Vint, if you was to ride down there and meet that posse, make them see my side of it. Well, they'll respect you, Vint. They'd have to hear you out.
I've only heard your side of it.
I wouldn't lie to you, Vint. Look, I'll meet you 4 miles down the canyon at Squirrel Rock. Noon tomorrow. And I'll give myself up no matter what. All I'm asking for is a fair trial.
All right. Squirrel Rock, noon tomorrow.
I'll see what I can do about that posse.
Well, I'll be dogged. Howdy, Sam.
You know this man, Sam?
Do I know him? Why, this here's Vint Bonner. We worked side by side at the Bar Triangle 3-4 years ago. What you doing down this way? Came down to look at some of that cattle your boss wants to sell.
Did you see anybody when you came through the canyon?
Only Art Hemper.
Doggone it, Vint. That's the one we're looking for.
Yes, I know. You want him for murder.
You knew that and you let him ride on. What kind of a citizen are you, Bonner?
You could have brought him in to save the sheriff the trouble, you know. I've known this youngster a long time, Sheriff. He says he didn't kill his brother.
He says he didn't, and I got enough against him to hang him twice over. Do you think I'm out after him for the fun of it?
All he wants is a trial. That's not too much for any man to ask.
He'll get a trial, all right.
He was hoping it'd be a fair one. So long, Sam. Vint Bonner. Howdy, George.
Paying the old town a visit, huh? And he sure picked a time for it. Right in the middle of the most excitement we've had in months.
Yes, I know. I ran into the sheriff and his boys a ways back.
Oh, then you know about Art Hemper, huh? Yeah, too bad to see an old friend go to pieces the way Art has.
Most of us would if we were up against a murder charge.
No, that's not what I mean. Truth is, Art's been on the downgrade for the last couple of years.
That is too bad. I always kind of liked the kid.
Well, if you'd lived here and seen it happen day by day, you'd understand. Ever since his pa died, he's been getting worse. Drinking too much, keeping whatever troubled him locked up inside. And all of a sudden he blows up. Too bad Clyde had to get the full force of it.
Are you saying definitely that he shot Clyde?
I sure am. You remember Nadine? Well, she's Mrs. Willis now. Well, I met her riding into town early yesterday morning. You know how women are. She was on her way to buy another new dress.
I thought it'd be all right to ride into town. I hear they've got some new dress material at the general store.
Not another dress, Nadine.
I just thought I'd look, George.
Honey, you do more than look. Buy the best they got. You're the wife of an up-and-coming rancher now. I'll meet you at your sister's place after I finish my business at the bank. You see that? You see what Art Hemper's just done? And we better get out of here before we get killed, too. Hey, come on, hey.
You got to town and reported to Vale.
I sure did. I left Nadine with her sister and joined the posse. It's a sad thing, Bet. I'm sorry it had to happen.
I think I know just how you feel, George. I'd heard Art's side of the killing, and now I'd listen to George's. I made a stop at Nadine's sister's place, but Nadine was out. I left word I'd be back, and that's when I got the idea of talking to Tom Yancey. Hello, Mr. Yancey.
Vint Bonner, come right on in. Come right in. The gate's open.
How have you been?
Fine, fine. And what brings you into Smoke Falls, Vint?
Well, I came in to look at some Bar Triangle cattle.
Fine, we'll be glad to handle any deal for you.
That's not what I want to talk about right now, though. Came to talk about Art Hemper.
What about him?
He says he didn't kill Clyde.
I never did associate him with the regular killing kind.
Yeah, looks like we're in the minority, Judge.
You know old man Hemper married again after Art's mother died. That's how Clyde came into the family. You know, it seems that old man Hemper was doomed to have bad luck with his wives. This new one died on him about 2 years ago.
What I had in mind were motives. It sure would help Art a lot if there were no reason for him to kill Clyde.
I'm afraid Art had every reason to kill Clyde.
How's that?
Well, the old man left the whole thing to Clyde. Lock, stock, and barrel. Art was out in the cold without a nickel to his name.
You sure?
Well, I was there when they read the will. I took Art aside and told him I felt the whole thing was grossly unfair. Do you know what his answer was?
What?
He said his father owned the property, and he had a right to dispose of it any way he saw fit. I found out afterwards he stayed in town and got drunk.
How was Clyde about this?
Pleased. And to give him credit, embarrassed.
Not embarrassed enough to do anything about it, though.
Oh, he gave Art a lot of talk about how a piece of paper didn't change things between brothers. It was Art's home, and everything would be the same as it was before.
Well, much obliged, Mr. Yancey. It might help Art if you'd remember all this so you could tell it in court.
Mr. Bonner.
I hope I'm not intruding, Mrs. Willis.
I know it's a pleasure to see you again in Smoke Falls. I don't suppose you remember, but most of the girls here had a crush on you.
That just shows you what a fellow can miss.
Won't you sit down?
Thank you. I suppose you're wondering why I'm here.
You want to talk about Art Hemper?
Yes. George told me you witnessed the shooting.
I did. But since I'm married to George, he speaks for both of us.
Well, I have no reason to pry. I just thought I might be able to help Art.
I guess just about everybody in town is against him.
It wouldn't do any harm for you to talk. You'll have to say something at the trial anyway.
All right. But first, you ought to know that Art and I went together for a while.
He told me that.
Oh. We were very fond of each other. We even figured on getting married. And then all of a sudden, everything just came to an end.
You don't have to talk about that unless you want to.
I started keeping steady company with George.
Didn't Art turn up again?
No. I'd hear about him occasionally from friends. George never liked that, though, whenever Art's name was mentioned.
What are you doing here?
I'm on my way to town.
You have to go by Art's place to get there?
Sure. It's the shorter way. You know that as well as I do.
Maybe you think I don't know what's going on in your mind. Anybody even mentions Art's name and your eyes light up like somebody built a fire behind him.
That's a rotten thing to say just because he's an old friend.
Seems to me he was a little more than an old friend. You're in love with him, weren't you?
All right. I was in love with him. But I married you, didn't I?
Then it's high time you stop mooning over him. Seems to me like a husband's got a right to expect loyalty from his wife.
And just what do you think you've had?
Oh, listen, Nadine, I don't want to quarrel with you. All I want's the truth.
That's what I've been telling you, the truth. I'm on my way to town. I hear they've got some new dress material at the general store.
Not another dress, Nadine.
I just thought I'd look, George.
Honey, you do more than look. Buy the best they got. You're the wife of an up-and-coming rancher now. I'll meet you at your sister's place after I finish my business at the bank. You see that? You see what Art Hemper's just done? We better get out of here before we get killed, too. Hey, hey!
I reckon you know the rest of it. George asked me to wait here and then went to join the posse.
Then you actually didn't see Art shoot Clyde.
No. I told you all I saw.
And as far as you know, it could have been someone hiding somewhere around the barn.
If anything, it looked to me like he was trying to help him.
One more thing. Was there any talk of a lynching?
My husband was one of those most in favor of it.
I see. I'll be moving along.
Mr. Bonner?
Yes, ma'am?
I don't want you to get any wrong ideas. I'm a respectable woman. And I'm loyal to the man I married.
Yes, ma'am. In a day's time, I'd learned a lot about Art Hemper and a few other people. But I was as far from the truth as ever. Then it came to me that the answer was probably with Art himself. If he kept that appointment at Squirrel Rock, it would be a pretty good sign he was innocent.
You're right on time, Vint.
So are you, Art. I don't mind telling you I'm glad of it.
And get them hands up high. Get them up.
You know something? You just answered a question that's been bothering me a lot.
Don't you try nothing, Vint. Sheriff's gang's just up the canyon looking for me any time now. They're apt to find my back trail and follow it here.
Sheriff Vale's no fool. He's got guards at both ends of the canyon.
That won't stop us.
Us?
We're riding out of here together. I'm gonna be your prisoner. You take that gun, you keep it on me. Now make it look good, because mine's gonna be right here under my coat, aimed at your belly.
You'd be smart if you gave yourself up. If you killed Clyde, there's what the court calls extenuating circumstances.
They'd still hang me, and you know it. Okay, let's get going. Soon we'll be out of this canyon. I'll be a free man for the first time in my life.
You're wrong, Art. Clyde's gonna be between you and any freedom.
You think I'll give him a second thought? I hated him.
Could be you hated the wrong man. He didn't take the ranch from you. He only took what was given to him. Your own father did that.
Paul was all right. Till Clyde and his mom moved in. That's when the trouble started.
What trouble?
Two of them ganged up on me. Very first day. Everything I did was wrong. They poisoned Pa, so he was against me.
Maybe you didn't give them a chance.
I did. Figured we was even up. He had a ma. I had a pa. Guess the real trouble came when she died. I didn't care much. She never had a kind word for me, never once. Pa didn't understand. Seems from that day on he cared more for Clyde than he did for me. I never knew how much more until he died and Clyde inherited everything. I had nothing. Clyde never gave me nothing. That's how this whole thing started. I needed some money. I went to Clyde and asked him for it. Remember that day I was in the fields working on the fences? Clyde was out in the barn currying the horses. Clyde, I've been figuring going into town. How about let me have some money?
Thought I told you to fix those fences between the pasture and the alfalfa.
I did yesterday.
And you done a mighty poor job. I was out there not an hour ago, and they're all busted down again.
Must be a new break, then.
New break, nothing.
All right, I'll fix them tomorrow. Look, all I'm asking for is $5.
By tomorrow, them cows will have all the alfalfa torn up. You're gonna ride out there now. And you better do a decent job this time.
I done a decent job. Now, you think you can do any better? Go ahead. Ain't no law says you can't fix fences same as me.
Who you think you are you can talk like that? I give you free grub, a roof over your head.
And I try to do my part. All right, I'll fix them fences now.
You bet you'll fix them.
Now, how about the money?
I'll see about it.
Look, Clyde, a man can't go on and on like this without a cent in his jeans. Now, can't you give me the money now?
If you want money, you gotta work for it. I wouldn't mind paying a little extra to a good hand.
I am a good hand, and you know it. Anybody else will give me $30 a month on top of living.
Ain't a week goes by, but I don't turn away better hands than you. All of them willing to work for keep. Art, if you don't like it around here, you can shove off any time.
You're real anxious to get rid of me, ain't you? You're soft so Pa till you got what belonged to me.
Don't think Pa didn't have you sized up. He knew who deserved the place and who didn't. Now you get along and fix them fences, you hear?
All right, Clyde. I guess I ain't got no choice.
Get!
Sure. But tonight you're gonna be asleep, and I ain't gonna be able to ask you, and I want to go to town. Look, Clyde, I'm begging you. Give me the $5, please.
I told you. I ain't paying for no drunken sprees. Now get!
You ain't gonna treat me this way no more.
I'll treat you any way I like. And you want to know why? Because you ain't no earthly good. Why do you suppose Nadine married George instead of you?
Don't you bring her name into this.
She was just playing at love with you. When it come to settling down, she picked herself a man. Now you get to work or I'll run you clean off the place.
Maybe you can see what Clyde done to me.
Not enough to kill him.
Not enough. Stole my pa. Made me lose Nadine. They ain't no use trying to make you see. Vint, don't you understand? How could I ask Nadine to marry me when I had nothing and Clyde had it all? Oh. There's George Willis. He's even worse than Clyde was. Never missed a chance to poke fun at me in town. Make a fool out of me in front of Nadine. He already had her. What more do he want? And I got my gun on you. All right. Let's go.
I see you got him, Bent. Where's the sheriff?
He'll be along in a little while.
Then I'll take over for him.
They all said Bonus to take me in.
We'll take good care of you, Art. Did you ever see a man hung, kicking and fighting for breath?
George.
His face turning purple?
I'll take care of him. You go get a doctor.
Ben?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's all right, kid.
Ben. When it happens, that rope, I'm scared. You be there.
I'll be there. Well, he was lucky in one way. He didn't have to face the rope. Who would you say was to blame? Old Man Hemper? Clyde? His mother? George? Nadine? Who knows how many others? They all had a hand in making Art what he was. A man just doesn't turn into a killer all by himself. Coming to Bountiful, one of the nicest little towns in the West. So when Andy Smithers asked me to hunt him up some blooded Hereford stock, I just naturally headed for Bountiful. It was a kind of town where you enjoyed doing business. Or at least so I'd always thought.
Hey, squarehead! Not so fast.
What do you want?
You got mud on you, men here. Well, men here, don't they teach you common politeness where you come from? Don't you thank a man when he does you a favor?
You did me no favor. I do not thank you.
Come, Papa. We got to go.
That's right, Papa. Do what the lady says. You're gonna thank me first.
I do not thank you.
Oh, you won't.
Papa!
Better. Be quiet.
Now, Papa, you ready to speak your piece?
Papa!
You've had your fun. Now move along.
Just a minute. Who you think you're shoving?
I said move along.
Why, you...
I know you mean well, but I cannot thank you for violence. I didn't expect any thanks. As a matter of fact, I kind of enjoyed it. Howdy. Could you tell me where the Durant place is? I understand they have some pretty good blooded stock.
Best in the valley. Down the road there, 3 or 4 miles. Can't miss it. Strange people.
What do you mean?
You saw. Do 'em a good turn like you did, and what happens? Spit in your face. I don't need their trade.
Did they want to buy something?
Sure. I told them they could get their stuff somewhere else.
What do they want?
Oh, side meat, flour, the usual.
Didn't they have any money?
They can pay, all right. I just don't want nothing to do with their kind.
Get it.
Huh?
Get out what they wanted. You forgot your groceries.
Why do you do this?
Well, I talked to the groceryman, and he said as long as I was heading this way...
I will pay.
Don't bother. You put it on your book. You pay any time you want.
Oh, thank you. You're a good man.
I also thank you, Mr.
Bonner. Vint Bonner.
And my name is Johann Hoffman. And this is my wife and my son, Peter.
Mrs. Hoffman? Peter? Well, I guess I better run along if I want to get to Duran's ranch by sundown. Goodbye.
You see, Papa, there are good people, even out here.
You heard? He says he goes to Durand.
But, Papa, that means nothing.
Greta, so many times we have been hurt, and yet you still hope. Better to expect nothing. It gives less pain.
I got 800 head ready for market. We'll ride out in the morning and I'll show them to you.
That'll be fine. Mrs. Duran, that's one of the best meals I ever tasted.
Well, you're very kind, Mr. Bonner. I feel terrible about not baking today, but what with getting ready for the fall term and all...
Oh, now, Amy, don't apologize. Amy's a school teacher here, you know.
Oh? How does it feel having your mother for a school teacher?
Awful.
Well, you mean she doesn't give you an edge in arithmetic?
Gosh, no. She's tougher on me.
I think I met a schoolmate of yours today. A boy named Hoffman, Peter Hoffman. Do you know him?
Chris, you be a good boy and go to the kitchen and start the dishes. I'm glad you didn't talk in front of the boy, John.
Amy, I don't know why I can't say what I want in my own house. Ever since that family of squareheads took it in their heads to settle on a piece of land down the road...
They had a perfect right to do that.
Maybe so. We don't want strangers here. Not their kind, anyway.
What's wrong with their kind? They bought a farm. They've been working hard. They've been here almost a year now. How can you call them strangers?
You know, some people don't fit in if they live in a place all their lives.
Has anybody ever asked them to fit in? Has anybody ever invited them to be a part of the community or even tried to make them feel welcome? You look at that boy of theirs. He belongs in school, but he's afraid to go. He's afraid of being hurt and rebuffed. I'm going over there myself and talk to the Hoffmans about Peter.
You do nothing of the sort. I don't want you mixing with them, you understand? Now look, honey. Mr. Bonner came here to talk cattle, not squareheads. Come on, Hummer, let's go out on the porch and get some fresh air.
On Crooked Creek, boss.
It's quite a stretch. It'll be dark time we get there. What do you say we sleep comfortable in the house and start out in the morning?
The ones I've seen are fine-looking beef. Almost be worth staying overnight for.
Not only that, you get another chance at one of Amy's dinners.
Twist my arm. Say, that's a neat-looking little place. Who does it belong to?
Well, there he is. Old squarehead himself.
Well, Mr. Hoffman. I met him today in town.
Yeah.
I heard you did.
Look at him there. Wonder if he'd stand up so feisty if I ran a herd through his place.
Lay off that talk, Red. I don't want trouble.
Nothing riles me like a fence in cattle country.
It's legal, isn't it?
Well, let's get back to the house.
I think I'll stay around a while. I'd like to say hello.
You like it?
Mama, how can anyone not like Hasenpfeffer? It is old country dish.
I noticed you brought some other things from the old country. I saw your stand of alfalfa as I rode up. Your husband is as good a farmer as you are a cook, Miss Hoffman.
In old country, it is different. There, everybody helps. In planting, harvesting, haying. Not like here.
How about you, Peter? You going to be a farmer, too, when you grow up?
I guess so.
Well, you've got a good example to shoot at.
You are very kind. But Peter does not want to be farmer. Not like old country. Here, boys have new ideas.
Oh? What do you want to be, Peter?
A surveyor.
That's good. That takes a lot of book learning, doesn't it? What grade are you in at school?
I'm not going to school.
It's too bad. Because I know Mrs. Duran would like to have you. She told me so.
She did not say that.
Papa, Mr. Bonner is our guest.
I don't blame you for being surprised, Mr. Hoffman, but the fact is, she doesn't feel the same way her husband does. That's the truth.
See, Papa, she wants him. Peter has been so sad. He has the hunger to learn like other boys have the hunger for food. Now you can go to school.
It is better not to talk about it. We ask no favors. Mr. Bonner, I want to show you something. Take my hand.
All right.
Go. And push me down, yeah?
Oh, I know this. Let's try that again, shall we?
Good, yeah.
Ready? Just once more, huh?
Good, yeah. Oh. I want you to know I am not coward.
I never thought you were.
I am taught when God gives man strength, it is to help, not to hurt.
That's a fine idea. Well, I'd best be getting along. Mrs. Hoffman, it'll be a long time before I forget that meal. Surveyor, huh? A friend of mine was a surveyor. The last time I heard of him, he was laying out the right-of-way for a transcontinental railroad. I'm going to feel this for a week. I wonder how long Peter will suffer if you don't unbend a little. Good night.
Good night.
Hoffman, I'm delighted you brought Peter to school.
He is a good boy. He wants to learn.
I know you're going to be very happy here, Peter. Now, you run, play with the children till the bell rings.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hoffman, I know this wasn't an easy decision for you to make. I'm glad you made it.
I hope I do not make mistake. Good day, Mrs. Durant.
Now, boys and girls, this is Peter Hoffman. I want you to make him feel welcome. Bell in 5 minutes.
Good day, Mrs. Durant. Look at me, I'm a square. Give me my hat. Get up. You're yellow like your pop. Chris.
Mr. Hoffman, I'm terribly sorry.
I don't like to abuse your hospitality, Mr. Duran. I could just as easily have stayed at the hotel.
Nonsense. We like company. Besides, I ain't letting you out of my sight till we close that deal.
Don't worry about those cattle. They're prime.
Tomorrow, I'll help you line up a couple of trail hands. Hi there, Chris. How was everything at school?
All right, I guess.
Hadn't you better get washed up for dinner?
I already ate, Pop.
Kids.
And Chris, the ringleader of it all. The poor boy lying there in the dirt. And when he got up, Chris struck him again. The look that man gave me when he picked up his child.
Oh, Amy, honey, you're making a mountain out of a molehill. So the kids were fighting. What of it? Happens all the time.
This wasn't a fight. This was persecution. My own son, a bully.
The other kid's got fists, ain't he? Why didn't he fight back?
You know perfectly well why. John, it's attitudes like yours that start the trouble. The children hear from their parents. Instead of respecting another man's belief, you ridicule him just because he's different.
I've had enough schoolteacher lectures. You must think we fight all the time. We don't. Only since that cussed squarehead moved into this country.
That's right. Blame it on him.
Amy, I've listened to all I'm going to. Now, we're a couple of hungry men. How about some dinner?
I want you to know I'm deeply ashamed that my own son could do such a thing.
He did not mean to hurt.
Mama.
No, I don't excuse him, or myself either. I can only promise you it will not happen again.
Peter does not go back.
Papa, it would be different. Mrs. Durant says so.
Mrs. Durant, I know you think I'm only stubborn man. But what I really feel, you do not understand.
I think I do.
For myself, I have no fear. If God wills that I suffer, I do not complain. But the boy, he's so young.
Mr. Hoffman, everybody must fight for what he really wants and needs. Oh, I don't mean with the fists. There are other ways. I hope you'll change your mind.
Amy, for the last time, will you tell me what that skunk did to you?
John, he had nothing to do with it. The horse shied at a rabbit and threw me.
I don't believe it. You've been shielding him long enough.
John, what are you doing?
We've had nothing but trouble since those people came into this valley. I've taken a lot, but when he starts hiding behind a woman's skirt...
Now, Duran, don't go off half-cocked. I found your wife a mile from the Hoffmans, thrown by her horse, just like she said.
You stay out of this, Bonner. Let's go, Ray.
John, please! Mr. Bonner, you gotta do something. John will kill him.
I don't think he'd shoot an unarmed
You
man.
don't know him when he's excited. Please stop it.
Take it easy, Mr. Ray.
There's a lot of boys will be disappointed not to be in on this one.
Yeah. I'll do what I can.
Oh, no.
Hey, man.
This is my land. I do no harm, and I hide from no man.
Mr. Hoffman, principle may be a fine thing, but a little discretion can save a lot of trouble.
I do not cause trouble. He does. Peter, go to the house.
All right, Hoffman, I'm going to take you apart.
Duran, cool off.
I told you once to stay out of this, Bonner.
Believe me, Mr. Duran, I'd like nothing better.
There he is, boys. Let's get him.
Hold it right where you are.
So it's you. Let's rush him. He can only get one of us.
Who wants to be the first one?
There's the one I want, boys. You can do what you like after I finish with him.
You keep your gun belt on.
What do you mean?
What I said goes for you too, Duran. You'll have to go through me if you want to get to him.
Here's that cattle deal doesn't mean very much to you, Bonner.
You're wrong. That deal meant a lot to me. But I'm not going to stand by while you beat up a man who won't fight back.
He's pretty brave facing a woman. Let's see how he stands up to a man.
I want no bloodshed. I do not like that you lose your business because you defend me. I must ask you to step aside, Mr. Bonner.
Mr. Hoffman, if I understand it properly, you were taught to love your enemies. Is that right?
Sure.
And if you love someone, it's fitting and proper to show some form of affection to them. Is that right? Like a hug. A bear hug.
A hug? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can do this, yeah.
All right, I'll keep an eye on these boys while Mr. Hoffman gives us a demonstration of brotherly love. He's all yours, Duran.
Let me go. Let me go. Stop, he's killing me. Let me go. Stop, he's killing me.
Here's one who can use a little brotherly love, too.
Let me.
Show a little affection to this digging tool.
My enemies! I love you all!
They say you can't change people overnight, and by and large, that's true. But sometimes you're lucky enough to be in on the beginning of a change. And and you get a good feeling about what's going to come. Like I said in the beginning, Bountiful sure was a nice little town. From any one of 100 small, dried-up cow towns in the West. It was just harder to get to. I'd push Scar all day through country that wasn't fit for prairie dogs. And thinking about that 50-mile ride back to Cooper City tomorrow didn't make either one of us feel any better.
That you, McCall?
No, McCall's sick. He sent me instead.
Who are you?
It's Bonner, Sheriff. Vint Bonner.
Well, Vint, I'm glad to see you. You know what kind of job this is, don't you?
Yeah. I'm supposed to take a man back to Cooper City to be hung.
That's partly right. But this ain't a man. He's a cold-blooded murderer.
I've met that kind before.
Not like this one, you ain't. Not like Ransom Khalil. He's the hardest, meanest, lowest form of humanity I ever come in contact with inside jail or out.
Well, mean or not, I've still got to take him to Cooper City.
I don't envy your job, Vint. I suppose you got the papers.
Right here. There's a warrant for his transfer and my identification as temporary deputy.
This could be more temporary than you think. Would you like to meet him?
Tomorrow will be soon enough. I'd like to get over to the hotel and get a meal and a good night's rest. My horse is tired, too.
I think you ought to meet him tonight, just in case you don't show tomorrow morning. I'll understand why.
Is he all that tough?
He's that tough. Bedrock, nothing else.
Let's meet him.
Khalil.
What do you want?
How'd you like to meet the man that's going to take you back to Cooper City?
I already met McCall.
But this ain't McCall.
Play games on me, Sheriff?
Well, look at him. Sheriff McCall wasn't able to make it himself, so he sent Mr. Bonner here in his place.
It's 50 miles to Cooper City, Mr. Bonner.
You can take it one of two ways. Riding a horse or being dragged by one.
Real tough, ain't you? Real tough, 'cause you got the law behind you.
I'd just as soon take you back dead as alive. I knew the storekeeper you murdered. He was a quiet, harmless man.
I heard all about it. He had a wife and 4 kids. Anything else you gotta tell me?
No. Nothing else.
You see what I mean?
I see what you mean. He's the kind that doesn't bend.
That's Khalil. He'll never bend.
He'll break.
What?
When the pressure gets too tight, he'll break.
Not Khalil.
Maybe, maybe not.
Vint, while you're getting room over at the hotel, I'll take your horse down to the stable and see that he's curried and fed.
Drop around later.
And I'll do that, and I'll buy you a drink. 'Cause you're taking a load off my back. A big one. Well, you can't stand on one leg. Drink up, I'll buy another one.
That one's enough. It's a long ride tomorrow. I'll need all the rest I can get.
Howdy, Sheriff.
Hello, hello.
Is this the fella who's taking Ransom Khalil back to Cooper City?
You see how that kind of news travels? What about it?
Oh, nothing, Sheriff, nothing. Only I was just wondering where I could find Khalil's woman.
Well, I guess she's around town, all right.
Sheriff! Even if she is Khalil's gal, I'd give every ounce of dust I ever mined to have her look at me once. Just once. The way she looked at Khalil. Never could figure out what she seen in that cuss, that sour puss. He just as soon kick a woman as kiss him.
Well, I guess some heifers just ain't choosy about the pastures they roam, huh?
Well, this one can roam my pasture any time of the day, Sheriff. Any season of the year. Valia's her name. The prettiest little trick you ever did see. Skin the color of ivory, and the hair was just as black as...
Old timer, I think you better stick around civilization for a while. You getting balmy wandering around the desert all the time.
Balmy, you call it? I just wish I was 20 years younger. I tell you, I'd go after that black-haired little gal, and I did. That's what I do.
Howdy.
You want to get yourself killed?
Not for a spell yet. Oh, do you mind if I put my hands down, Sheriff?
Sure. And I'm not the sheriff. You'd be Valia.
Yeah, I'm Valia. You, got anything to eat around here?
Sorry.
Ain't had a square meal since that skunk Khalil got himself thrown in jail.
There's a place downstairs. I'll stake you to a meal.
Well, now. You're a gentleman. That's what you are, a real gentleman.
How'd you get in here?
Just walked in. I saw you on the street talking to the sheriff. Figured you'd stay here. It's the only hotel in town. I asked the clerk for your room number.
I'll stake you to a meal, but you're walking out.
You mean you want me to go?
That's the idea.
I don't have any place to go. I can't go back to my folks, or they'd tan my hide. I don't know where they are, anyway.
What about Khalil?
I wouldn't ask him for anything. I wouldn't touch $1 million gold if that skunk had anything to do with him.
I was told you were fond of him.
I was. Oh, I'd be glad to see him swing. You know what he did? He's got some money hid. You think he'd tell me? No, sir. Said if he couldn't spend any of it, neither could I. He wouldn't care if I starved.
What did you expect to find here?
You. Just you. I know a lot about you, Mr. Bonner. I know you're tough, but you ain't mean. I know you're taking Khalil back to Cooper City where they're gonna hang him. And when they hang Khalil, there'll be nobody. I'll be all alone. I'm Khalil's woman. Know what that means? I'd be willing to kill anyone who tried to hurt him.
Come in.
Say, Vint. Hey, see, you had company.
Khalil's girl.
Did she do that?
Just a scratch.
You know something? She's just as bad as he is.
Tell you one thing. She loves him.
Yeah?
Well, that's no crime, is it, Sheriff?
No, but what she done to your shoulder is, I'll scour the town and throw her into jail.
Forget it.
What'd you say?
I said forget it. As long as I don't press charges, you can't put her in jail.
But I don't want her in this town.
She won't be long after Khalil lives. As long as he's here, she'll be thinking up schemes to get him out. By the way, Sheriff, who's minding the jail?
Hey. All right, Khalil, let's get going.
Why? I ain't interested in rushing this thing.
Come on, stalling ain't gonna get you nothing. Let's get moving.
Suppose we give him a little time to finish his breakfast.
I ain't asked anything from you, mister.
You're not getting anything, except one more minute with that.
And that could be the last breakfast you ever gonna eat.
I'm through. Lots of things can happen in 50 miles. I'm ready whenever you are, mister.
I'm ready.
Well, I guess this girl's given up, Vint. But you keep an eye peeled just the same, and not alone for her. I understand a few renegade Apaches broke out the reservation and are prowling south.
I heard that before I left Cooper City.
Well, it's your show from here on out. Good luck to you, Vint.
Thanks. So long, Sheriff. Move out. Not easy to eat with those things on your wrist.
Hear me complaining?
I'll take them off if you promise not to try anything.
Promise to kill you first chance I get.
Guess they stay on then. Hold it.
Worried about something, mister?
Not particular.
I know different. I heard what Jernigan said back in Salt Lake about those renegade Apaches being on a prowl.
We'll rest the horses a while. I said we'd rest the horses. Get off. Over there.
You sure picked the place, mister.
What's wrong with it?
Them Indians could be anywhere in them hills, waiting to pick us off.
You're thinking about it. I was wondering if you thought about anything, Khalil.
I can think as clear as the next man. Only difference between me and them, they ain't got my kind of guts.
No man's made of iron.
Look, I know what's waiting for me in Cooper City. All right, so it's gonna happen. That's all there is to it.
I wasn't thinking about Cooper City. I was wondering about those Indians. What would happen if they came down?
Well, if they come down, I can take it here. Same as in Cooper City.
Here, have a drink.
I ain't ask you for nothing, mister.
Have a drink. We're gonna be here a while.
You're wondering about me, ain't you, mister? You're wondering that maybe down deep there might be some of me in you. In everybody. Scares you a little, don't it, mister?
I wouldn't trade places with you.
You'll get yours. You see, you and me are more alike than you care to admit. I just had the guts to stand up and take what I wanted. You'd do the same if you thought you could get away with it.
Anyone ever bother to tell you the difference between what's right and what's wrong?
What's right and what's wrong? Now, there's a laugh. I guess even that measly storekeeper was right according to the way you look at it.
He was a family man. He wasn't doing anyone any harm.
He was greedy. Like a weasel's greedy. Buying at one price, selling at another, and hoarding his money.
You're not even faintly sorry you killed him, are you?
I'm just sorry I got caught.
What about his wife and children?
They're none of my outlook.
Khalil, you deserve to be hanged.
I ain't begged for nothing, have I? I ain't weaseled or broke. Hang? Hang and be damned.
Get on your horse. On your horse. You know, Khalil, you judge by a yardstick you don't use on yourself.
Yeah? What's that supposed to mean?
That girl of yours.
Nice twist of female flesh, wouldn't you say?
She risked her life for you last night.
She'd done a better job with that knife. Maybe I'd be grateful.
You move wrong and I'll put a bullet in you before you've gone 10 feet.
Gonna gun a woman. Too bad she's out of close range.
She better stay out of range.
No use, mister. She'll be dogging us every step to Cooper City. Ain't so bad right now. But come nightfall, she's like a cat. She'll creep up behind you, soft as you please. And she'll have her claws deep in you before you know it. But you already know that, don't you, mister?
If that's what you wanted, why did you fire that shot?
To put a bullet in your head, that's why.
But you just said it yourself. She's out of range. She knows that, doesn't she?
What are you getting at, mister?
She could have waited till nightfall. Easy. Why risk warning me with a bullet that didn't have a chance?
I said, what are you getting at?
Your girl? I think she's in trouble. I think that shot was a call for help.
She can help herself. No skin off my hide what trouble she's in.
That's far enough. Drop the gun. 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 Drop the gun
I gotta talk to you.
Not with that gun in your hand. Drop it.
I can't.
Go on. Put a slug in her. If you can, mister. I swear. Afraid to shoot a woman. Go on, honey. Put one in his teeth. Show him you're my gal.
Stop right there. I'll put a hole in your arm. That's better. Now drop the gun.
I think I better hang on to it. Why do you think I came down off that rock?
Behind these rocks, both of you. Hurry up. How'd you get out here without a horse?
I busted its heart, getting away from them. I had to. Know what they'd do to me if they...
Yeah.
Do I keep the gun?
Keep the gun.
Cleo.
What?
Well, this sort of throws odds against me, hon, but they ain't hung you yet.
It's great. It takes care of everything, don't it?
Cleo?
What do you want?
Well, I'm sorry I didn't do better last night. I tried.
Forget it. What's done is done.
They'll pick the horses off easy. And then we're stuck.
How well can you take starvation?
They won't stay around long. They just broke out of the reservation. Their only chance is to make the border. We're only a temporary diversion.
That may be true. Except for Valia here. He'll stick around a while for Valia.
Yeah, I guess they might.
Hey, you! Hey, you down there!
What do you want?
The girl. You got girl down there.
You go on, get out of here.
We're young, strong. We have some fun.
You've had your fun, now go on.
Mister, you ain't gonna talk him out of this.
I can try.
You can try all you want, but you're not gonna do it.
You give us girl, we go away. You keep girl, we kill you both.
Cleo,
What do you want now?
they mean it, Cleo.
Valia! Valia! Valia, listen to me, get back! Do as I say, get back! Valia, no! Valia! Valia!